Hello everyone, GMTJ here. Unfortunately, I've got some bad news. We were having some audio technical difficulties during a chunk of this recording, but we didn't realize it until after we finished the session. So there is a chunk of this recording where you are unable to hear neither Sean nor Cameron. I'll do my best to try to pop in every once in a while and give you some context clues as to what they were saying, but most of what they said is lost and has been sacrificed to the pod and VOD gods. I don't want to bug you all too much though, so most of what is missing from the audio of Cam and Sean can be inferred from what Noelle and I say in response. Again, we deeply apologize for this mishap. We were able to figure it out and fix it, and hopefully this won't happen again in the future. As always, thank you all for watching. I'm going to stop talking now so you can enjoy our beautiful train wreck. Hello all and welcome. I'm your not so humble Game Master TJ, and this is Dice of Ages presenting CrestVahllen, the Baker's Dozen. This is will be episode 46 if I'm not mistaken.
Nope, not for right now.
Nope. All right, so then here we go. We're going to just do a quick little recap of what happened last time. Some heavy stuff. So in the last episode, which was episode 55, so we started on the evening of the 42nd, if I remember when we came in. You and Nakano and Masheni were working on trying to find a cure, and they figured something out, and they were like, okay, well, we have to replace the lung. And replacing the lung because it had to do with the lung was actually starting to get genetically transformed into something that's closer to a Drakesh, which made her, or like immunosuppressant type of thing, to make her more susceptible to the laughing fever. She's like, okay, so if we get rid of the lung, she should be able to naturally heal out of it because she should be naturally less susceptible and more resistant to the type of thing.
And it was the lung and diaphragm, right?
Yes, the lung and the diaphragm.
Okay.
Both the lungs and the diaphragm. Yeah. And so you say, okay, let's go to the construction site and see if we can still find some bodies there that are still viable. Hi, Ramsey. And the cool thing about that is that you know that they're still frigid because of the whole sleet storm and ice that Scoop had summoned down on them before. So before you do that, though, you give a note to Mima and you let her know, hey, we think we found a thing, like a way to do this, but we want your permission and we want to do it discreetly just so that, you know, everybody can continue having a wonderful day like they had planned to. And she, like, you know, nodded at you, but tried to keep a big old smile, and it was kind of sad. So you and Nakano, the adept women that are way smarter than everybody else in the group, go off and try to solve the big problem. And so you guys go to the spot. You haggle with one of the indentured that has been freed that was like looting. And you have a little, not a scrap, but just a bit of a deal is made, and you are able to successfully grab a possibly viable body of a gnomish individual and a possible viable body of a half-elven individual. You need a surgical theater. You need like an OR. You need tools. You have like a healer's kit on you that is good for triage, but you need more equipment for something like this. The Anima Jinn, you need facilities. So you head to the blacksmith, who was a very sweet man that kept saying that he loves his son, and he was a very proud father. But he was also, you know, making sure that things might fall off the truck every once in a while or off the cart. But you are able to get some shivs. There's some talk about donuts, and Nakano's like, okay, I want to move on. And you're able to, he's able to loan a vice, a hacksaw, and you're able to buy some shivs from him to be possibly used as scalpels and other types of things. Essentially enough to makeshift do a MacGyver operation. So you then head back with a body in a wheelbarrow and a body wrapped up in a rug. A Scoop notices the body wrapped up in a rug and the blood being tracked inside, and is like, and just like stares at Nakano, and Nakano just stares back at a Scoop intensively, like, and he's like, what the hell is happening? And then they read in a Scoop as to what's going on. They read in a Scoop on what's going on with the bloody carpet and everything, and Nakano is able to make a hermetic seal into one of the rooms. I believe it was a dining room with a nice big table, in order to create some sort of sanitary OR theater. And then Tammy is informed what is going to happen, and Nakano informs Tammy about the surgery that could save his mother's life, and then Tamarin informs his father, and they have a bit of a moment before they're all kind of on board, and Mima then notices that they now know, so things start to shift towards that area. She starts to get prepped for surgery. You are able to extricate the lungs from the gnome. They do have some small perforations in there that you're able to repair, so they seem to be viable, and they're good for transport. You bring them back to the dining room. She's laying on the table. She's ready to be put under. You administer an opioid to her as some type of anesthetic, and as she drifts off to sleep, you start to begin and take that deep breath. I think you guys are both wearing actually the masks that you had constructed for the sakura blossom, the sakura petals,
to kind of
in order
keep it.
to mitigate infection and all that stuff. It's wild that you guys have all this stuff. It's super, super cool. I'm so down for it. Like, look at this world that we built together. It's so cool. But Tammy and the father can't really do a whole lot. Well, I mean, they could. One of them is magical, but they walk outside and they're in the garden, smoking up cigars and looking at the stars of the expectant sky. And as things begin, so there's no way the music is calm for this. Sorry, but we are going to, I think, do a little bit more of a tension music here. This is not going to be easy. You do see her drift off. She is muttering something to herself as you listen to her drift off. Who has a scoop? Are you present in the room?
Yeah, I think he also.
Oh, you can read lips.
And I think he also cast enhance ability beforehand.
Correct, on
well.
you.
It was 4th level.
Oh, you casted it up, so it's on everybody, including yourself, a scoop?
And then I think you also did Death Ward on
yes.
Mima, right?
Are any of those concentration?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's good to know. Just know that if at any time you would need to cast another spell that has concentration, that the enhance ability would drop. I believe so, if that is a concentration spell. Okay, cool. Did you have it on Tamarin as well, or was it just the three of you?
Yeah.
Okay, so the ladies and the pale Fearbulg.
Hello.
No, that's Stella.
This is Stella.
She's very sweet.
Stella. She's my surgical assistant today.
Yeah, she's a buddy.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, if I know time is wibbly wobbly and timey wimey, but for those of you that are aware of what has gone on in the Argent Flame recently, there has been a rather momentous type of mechanic that's been instituted recently that has allowed these sisters to kind of be able to call upon each other's abilities just through their tie between space and time. Now, I don't want to get too much in the weeds as far as dates and the time being all weird and wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey, just because it's going to get too convoluted and it's too complicated for any of us to really keep track of. So I think this would be that type of moment where this might be something you'd be able to call upon. Your sister, you kind of feel, there you go, Stella is right there, you kind of feel the spirit of your sister kind of beside you, like holding your elbow and holding your forearm before you start, just that kind of, you feel less weight as just the spirit of someone who is inexorably tied to you through all forms of imagination of time, space, existence, and etc. There is a potential here for you. I want to do the same type of mechanic for you to call upon her abilities and perhaps her spells in this way. However, you need to do the same thing that she did, and you would need to roll to see if that's something that you want to try to connect to.
Okay.
As you feel her kind of behind you, supporting you.
All right. So just a D20 roll.
Yes, this is a little bit different because she's the one that initiated it, and she did really, really well already. So it's not along the same lines of success and fail. It just it's more of like, can you be a receptive catalyst to this, because she's gone like 90%. You just got to come 10. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. She's like borrowing your abilities while you're sleeping, and you're borrowing her abilities while she's sleeping, kind of thing.
Cool. Okay, so should I?
Yeah, you roll a d20. I will say,
Because that's just a luck check.
when you're together, you're immune to fear. Oh, wait, no. When you're together, you're like, you re-roll ones, right?
Correct.
So that was going to, no matter what, whether you succeed or fail on this roll, you are still going to be able to re-roll ones, just like the halfling luck type of ability. That Tamron, you're very familiar with. It's part of your family. You're just innately lucky. You're not anymore because you're not a halfling anymore. But your mother is very lucky. So you would still have that regardless throughout this.
Okay.
So it all would also apply to this role as well. I'm gonna say, as far as what role you would make for this, well, you tell me. What part of, if you had to pick a stat, that would be a part of thing that you feel ties you the closest to your sister, which would it be?
Just the 6 main things, not a dex probably.
Dex?
I mean, because like, playing as kids, right? Like I haven't known her that much since she's really blossomed with her intellect and stuff too. So it's, probably the dex.
Okay. So go ahead and just make a straight dex check for me and tell me what you get. What ability was enhanced?
It was the wisdom, I think, because we were doing medicine, right?
Okay.
Okay. Straight dex check was 14.
14. Okay, you just had to beat a 12.
Okay.
So that's really lucky. So here's the deal. You have the binder and all the access to the information of what Trisheni has and everything. You can use her spells if you would like, and her spell slots as well.
Okay.
But once you use one of those spells, you can't use it again.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You have the fleeting knowledge of that type of spell / ability, meaning that you would have access to all of her wizardly abilities and wizardly spells, but you could only use one of the features, traits, spells, and so on once in this instance. Because she went 90, you came 10.
Right.
Make sense?
Yes.
Cool. Great.
Okay, give me a moment to actually grab the binder.
Sure. When I was looking through your stuff, Noelle, to like find some just spell cards that I could reorganize to work for some of the other games that I was running, and so I could steal your stuff. At one point I thought that you had actually had them in the same binder, and one was read from left to right, like you turn it upside down and backwards, and you read like the one twin, or then you flip it up upside down and then read it the other way, and it's the other twin.
That's funny.
Like you did with some of your notes before, if I remember from some previous campaigns. And I was just like, I love this woman so much.
And then I failed you, and I had
no,
actually
you
2
didn't
binders,
fail
so.
me. Okay, cool.
Okay.
So,
quick question.
Sure.
It would be just anything that she has in her spell book that I would have access
yes,
to. Correct?
not anything,
prepared.
which is why I'm limiting it to one, because she has access to all the spells, but not the prepared ones, because there's no way you'd be able to know what was prepared. That's
cool.
too convoluted. So yes. I do believe I took some of the cards out of that binder. So, but you have all of the spell papers that I gave you, so you should be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
But anyway, Scoop. Yeah, you said you could read lips. You are able to. It's a bit because she's like coming under the influence of the anesthetic, and she's slipping into unconsciousness. The lips and even her speech is a little slurred, but you can read lips. What I'll just say is, why don't you just do me a favor and roll an insight check, because it's a bit of a mush mouth, because it's like trying to read the lips of someone who's heavily drugged and inebriated. 11. I mean, it's not bad. I think you get, before it gets too convoluted, you get the first 2 lines of what it is she's saying. And she says, I'm not going to do it in her voice because you can only read the lips. You don't hear the voice. She says, out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole. It looks like she's like chanting some sort of mantra, and the rest of it, there's like 2 or 3 more lines that she says, but you're unable to really pick them up because they're just kind of like, meh.
Black as the night from pole to pole?
Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole. And then she slips off into unconsciousness. So we're going to do it. This was very difficult for me to, as much as I tried to do some medical research, this is very difficult for me to really do with some accuracy, because fantasy creatures and
I mean, you could make shit up and I would have no idea.
Yeah, we just let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And there's
any medical
magic.
drama, you're just like, yes, you said pneumothorax. That's fine. Cool, that works. That word works.
And if you have
They're tacky. That works.
if you have questions,
Yeah, exactly. Noelle knows more about it than I do.
But I'm still not a doctor. That's
Right. So so just go with it. But if you can stump me, or not necessarily stump me, but if you can outmaneuver me in that type of way, I don't necessarily mean it that way, but if you know something more than I do and you think, oh, actually, I can fix that problem via this way,
Sure.
then I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Not only the benefit of the doubt, I'm going to reward that type of creativity and that thought and that knowledge. So saying like, cool, great, then you're able to fix that problem. Make sense? Like, if my fantasy shit doesn't pass your check and you want to do real shit, then fuck me up, fam. Let's go.
okay.
So I'm going to just put this into, as far as how I'm going to run this, it's going to be a skill challenge, a series of checks that you have to do during this surgery, because this is not a simple surgery. However, it's also not a mundane surgery. You have the advantage of being an anti-magician. You know how to use magic to help out certain things. So certain complications may happen. They may be easier to ameliorate with some of your abilities because, just magic, and then they get to stop bleeding or something like that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. But it's also, this is not a blunt instrument, but a scalpel. So this is something that for example, if you wanted to cure wounds to stop perhaps a cut bleeder, something that's bleeding and causing someone to drown in their own blood in there, cure wounds might still require a spell, some sort of spell check or ability check, because you want to be far more targeted with it rather than just heal it. Because if you heal them, you could possibly close up the operating theater.
Right.
You know, and that would be bad. You could heal the wrong things, and that could make it worse.
Right.
Make sense? Mm-hmm. So just roll with me. But if you want to refute, I welcome that as well. Cool?
Okay. Yep.
All right. So the first thing to do is you got to open her up, because you're doing a lung and diaphragm transplant. That is not an easy thing to do. In this instance, because of the size of her species, which is a halfling, and it's that much harder because everything is that much smaller. Granted, you are extremely dexterous. This is good.
And
However,
got female surgeon hands. It's
well,
tiny.
Here, Sean wonders if there's a spell that could make his mother bigger.
enlarge, reduce.
that would be. Neither of the sisters have it.
Talks about how crazy that would be to have much smaller hands or a larger half.
It is kind of dope though. Like
It's
your weight
awesome.
increases by 8 times. It's insane.
It is kind of cool, but
He says, I don't think I have that spell because it's not a sorcerer spell.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like a bard, an artificer, and wizard spell. Yeah.
And it happened during the joint campaign when Baker's Dozen met Ardent Flame, and they made
did that
Eleazar
to
way too
Eleazar.
big.
And he broke the big thing that he was like, oh no, I spent so long trying to uncover that big old religious.
Yeah, Tammy did. Yeah.
He just broke it. Yeah, Tammy was uncovering it, and Eliezer just like fell and broke it, and he's like, oh man, that's like thousands of years
Sean
old. He's
says,
like,
oh no,
Yeah,
all my
like,
work.
sorry. That was the rope too. Your nemesis.
Yeah, the rope. Oh,
He says it's crazy how ropes are the
Yeah.
party's worst nemesis.
It was wild. So First thing you're going to need to do is open her up. You realize that you also understand that because of her size, you may have to resect some of her organs in order to be able to also extricate and extract her diaphragm as well. Lungs are, you can spread the ribs and you could perhaps get to, but the rest of the things that like the diaphragm and the abdominal cavity holds a lot of other stuff. And so you might have to resect like maybe the uterus, parts of the intestines, stomach, liver, in order to actually fully pull out the
And I would be doing the
diaphragm.
gnome first, which is more similar in size, at least for.
Yes, you have the
her,
diaphragm
so-
and the lungs like ready. That's only viable for a limited time, obviously, because it's not. You've like done magic on it, like gentle propose and other things to make sure that it's okay, but you don't get too many tries at this, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So you may have to. Just to prep to make it easier to pull stuff out, you may have to pull out a bunch of other organs as well. But you have to keep them connected so that they're still running. So you pretty much have to take all of her a lot of her insides and put them on the outside.
Okay.
So it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be kind of ugly.
But this is nothing. This is
It's something that the doctor is
relatively-
used to.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's fine, right?
So we begin surgery. Nakano is also there to help you. She has a bunch of extra very dexterous limbs. I'm going to say no roll required. She's able to be like your rib spreader, your, what are they called? Retractor or whatever they're called.
We did get like a vice grip.
You did the vice, yeah,
and
that's
a
correct.
Seesaw, not a seesaw.
Hacksaw.
A hacksaw, yeah, at the blacksmith.
It doesn't look like you're going to need to open the ribs because you're able to spread the ribs enough where you'll be able to get your hands in there. It's just because you guys are dexterous enough. But she will be able to pretty much be your nurse as far as being able to move stuff aside easily, spread and flay skin and move organs and pull stuff out, being like, okay, like, resecting the liver, and she can just like kind of grab it and put it and like hold it up or put it wherever she needs to do, because she has not only does she have extremely dexterous hands, she has 4 extra almost needle-like pinpoint limbs that can go exactly where she needs them to go. So
Right.
no role required. She's your whole nursing staff, we'll say. If she wants to do something else when Angela arrives, that's fine too. But yeah, so you're gonna have to open her up here. This is just a type. This is gonna be easy. You take your shiv, which you're using as a scalpel, and you have to make an incision from pretty much like the sternum down to the belly button in order to get where it is that you need to go. Unless you want to make it less invasive.
You could do a little less.
Okay.
Just maybe a few centimeters above the belly button,
Sure.
because the diaphragm doesn't go down that low.
Okay, cool. So this is not hard, but so just roll a basic medicine check here. One of the things you realize when you start doing this is that there's gonna be blood. There's gonna be quite a bit of blood. You're gonna need suction. You're gonna need suction. You're gonna need gauze, those types of things. You guys have enough rags. You can easily take some of the webbing from the thing that's around you to use that as gauze and soak up some of the blood and that type of thing. You also realize that there's going to be quite a bit of blood that's going to get lost here. You might need donor blood. Like you might need units of blood to make sure that she doesn't go into, doesn't have a low red blood count and everything, and has enough blood so that she doesn't bleed out.
Okay.
So just roll a medicine check for me, just for your first incision as we start to open up the body.
Wait, Nakano or Scoop, do you know any good tunes? It always helps, like, getting in, especially for big surgeries like this, it's good to get into a groove.
A Scoop asks if she wants him to dance around.
I mean, yeah. I mean, usually at the college they hired a bard for, like, the super big surgeries to, like, play along.
What kind of music do you hum and sing along? Or whatever it is that you do, because I guess I'll have to play it now.
What do you think, a Scoop?
A Scoop says something similar to the music in his village that's calming and soothing, but he's not sure how good it will be.
Kurt, what type of
focus.
calming stuff? Like lo-fi type of calming stuff? Or
Sean
I
says
can't have
handpan.
that. We get slapped with so many things. Handbag can't do that. I have there's like slow tavern music, just calming music, investigative music, temple
Sean
music, mystical
had
music,
said
primeval music.
Yoga music.
primeval music.
Primeval music?
Well,
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
more kind of like chants and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I mean, there's not going to be any instruments there. It's just going to be you
Okay,
and Nakano
cool.
singing.
Let's try that.
Well, okay, I've got some good tunes now. All right, everything's good. Everything's calm. All right.
Scoop pulls out his what is this little instrument called?
Stylophone.
Yeah.
The stylophone. And he turns it on the other side that's like hollow, and he starts drumming it with his fingers. And his other hand is on the other side going. And he's just kind of like yoga zen type music right here.
Cool. I get in the zone and start the incision.
Cool.
I'm rolling at advantage because enhance ability.
Is medicine wisdom? I thought medicine is intelligence.
Nope, it's wisdom.
Is it for real?
For realsies.
That's so weird.
It's just like how nature is intelligence based and not wisdom based.
Yeah, they should be switched for sure.
All right.
I might do that at some point.
Just do it.
Yeah, because my game.
All right. 18 for
Our
the
game.
18 for the incision.
Easily done, deftly done. You see the blood that seeps out. Nakano is able to dab and pull it out as you start to make the incision. You are able to insert the vise easily enough. Start spreading the ribs.
Okay.
So your options are now. Do you want to? You have to navigate the heart when it comes to removing the lungs.
Yeah.
But there's a lot less to have to remove in order to remove the lungs compared to the diaphragm. Do you want to start going for the diaphragm, or do you want to start going for the lungs first? Nakano, like you see her like ready. She has some extra limbs that she can use as like clamps to like clamp certain parts so that blood doesn't start going in certain ways, and you can start making incisions. And
Let's do the diaphragm first, because then at that point there's still good circulation. There's still some oxygenation. I don't have to worry about that for a bit to actually cool it down to enough where I would stop it for a moment.
right.
So let's try
That's
that.
actually a good point of order, is that once you remove the lungs, you're going to have to, however long it is removed, you're going to have it like breathing outside of her body. Well, that's what you're doing with the other ones. The other one, the lungs that are having, they're trash, so I guess it doesn't really matter. So you'll be, never mind that, because you use magic to deal with it.
I mean,
'cause
but
magic.
I will have to ensure the blood is still oxygenated, so I'll have to do like a weird resection thing where it's not at any point does she lose oxygen for too long, basically.
Right, she'll still need oxygen being pumped into her body and to oxygenate her blood.
Yeah.
How do you want to do that?
Gust of wind. I think it makes sense. Like the little, little druidcraft little.
Okay, so you have to be doing that like every turn, as long as the lungs are out.
Right. Every other turn, I
Right,
think, because
which is why you're saving the lungs for the last. Okay,
and
smart.
it should be pretty. And then at that point, everything else should be in place, and it should be like
Yeah, we'll throw this up.
hopefully relatively quick. Hey, Angela.
Hello.
Ooh, we got a little moved around here.
You and
Oh, hold
and
on.
a scoop are doing some calming music in the background while your limbs are kind of spreading and holding the body
What's
over
Nice.
going on with
resection.
the-
Yeah.
There we go. Wonder why the thing did that. There we go. Oh, I don't know why it's doing that. There we go. That's better. Okay. And then we'll fix this. There we go. Now it should be all set. Okay. Cool. So, you make the incision, you put the vise in, you're ready to start going for the diaphragm. So you're going to have to resect a couple organs here. I believe the first one you're going to have to do is the liver,
That's fine. This will grow back.
and then the stomach, and then at least a portion of the large intestine. If things start to get more complicated, you might have to go lower.
Intestines I can just pull out. I don't have to resect. If I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely need to, I can. The stomach, I'll kind of try to just move out of the way rather than fully resect.
Okay, noted.
As much as I can.
Well,
If she has to bariatric surgery, then so be it. But yeah.
You see, like, part of her stomach is, like, not necessarily scabbed over, but, like, when you take a knife to bread and it makes that kind of sound when it's toast, it's almost has that type of rough skin to it, like she has an iron stomach. Like, she's been around a lot. She's a tough old broad, and her stomach can deal with it and has evolved as such. So you're going for the liver first, then?
Yeah, I'll resect part of the liver just to make sure that it's, because again, that can regenerate. It'll be fine, but just enough to not be greedy with it, but just make sure that there's enough room for the new diaphragm.
Cool. So what I'm going to have you do here with this is that you will need to cut off some sort of blood so that things don't happen, and just you make cuts so that you don't get bleeders. I'm going to have Nakano roll a sleight of hand check, and I'm going to have you roll a medicine check. Sound good?
Okay. Yep. And the enhance ability was only on wisdom, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a wild ride. Okay.
Hey, you stole my die.
I did?
These aren't mine.
They're not?
No,
They got mixed up when we did the bachelor party.
This is all the die.
I cannot use yours. So.
Those are not mine. That's what
That's right.
It's like, absolutely not. You guys should
I
be
don't
having
think- I think
getting
those
a
are all
package soon,
yours.
by the way.
Are you missing die?
Yeah, these are mine. They're different.
Yeah, the purple ones.
No, these are sparkly. These are not sparkly.
I don't have any other ones. That's it. That's all I got.
I found one that. But this one's. Okay, sorry for the delay.
Are we missing your die?
So is that.
I left you an extra set when I was there.
You left me an extra set?
I got.
I left, an extra purple set for.
Was that
for
the
Angela.
purple?
Oh, then I bet your sparkly ones are just mixed into the other purple one, and you're like, what are these purple ones?
Did the stone purple?
Are they in there?
ones?
I got 15.
15 for sleight of hand. Okay.
Yes.
What'd you get for your medicine?
24.
Not you, Angela.
Oh,
for-
okay.
24.
Like, wait, what?
24. So you go in and you and Macheni are communicating really well. Like, scalpel, clamp, and you see the two spider limbs go and start to clamp stuff. And you guys are pretty simpatico with this and able to do it rather deftly, and you start to make incisions to be able to remove the liver from the abdominal cavity to make it easier to get to the diaphragm. Whether removing a diaphragm is actually possible or not, I don't know. Whatever magic fantasy, deal with it. So you are able to remove the diaphragm well, and you are able to kind of take it out of the body and put it outside in a sanitized place. As you see, some of the webbing is removed and kind of created a bit of a canopy that almost like a hammock that it can sit on near her body.
Yeah, I have a question. Do I notice now that I'm actually inside Mima's body that that the anatomy has changed for those particular?
I can't hear you over all the dice sounds.
Have you? Now that I am in Mima's body.
Sean's doing it on purpose.
Sorry,
now.
I'm sorry. Horrible.
Now that I am physically able to see
Sure.
her organs.
You're looking for damage and
Not necessarily damage, just actually seeing if I can see a difference in the actual anatomy via the transmogrification, so to speak, that's happening.
I will say yes.
Okay.
So similar to how some tieflings have, I wouldn't call it scarring, but like ridges and kind of like Klingon ridges, not necessarily on the forehead, but just in other parts of their bodies that make them look a little bit more devilish. And it's a big, I'm sorry, not tieflings, Ibcast. Well, look at there, we're gone. How some devil folk have like different valleys and troughs,
Sure.
and when their skin, kind of like just similar to like the Klingon ridges on parts of their bodies, the lungs don't look that type of like vanilla humanoid halfling style. They look like they have more of a, I don't want to say carapace, but just harder cartilage along it that do have a pattern among them. Very similar to how you've kind of seen Tamrin's skull and parts of his scales create certain aesthetic patterns throughout his body.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. The lungs do look like they're somewhere between the two.
Okay.
But they are also, as you do this, notice that the lungs are larger than they should be. They look like they're pushing up really so much so that some of the lining of the lung appears to be pushing through some of the gaps of the ribs. It is crowding this space quite a lot. It is making everything that you do here that much difficult, more and more difficult.
Okay. It's interesting. Don't know if you've seen this before, Scoop, but take a look real quick. I'll jot it down in my notebook later just for posterity's sake, but we'll continue.
You got it. Scoop pulls out a tiny little handpan he got from somewhere. He got from the god as he starts to be like, oh, yes, very interesting. And you've resected the liver. You put it into a little. It's cool. Like as soon as you're pulling organs out, you put it on these like little webbed canopies that Nakano's been stretched from some of her webbing, so they can just hang. And so they're like stretched across the arch of this triage tent thing that you've made inside the dining room. And so there's just like this level of this organ has been kind of cocooned and hammocked up here. This organ has kind of cocooned to a hammock over here, and it's very spider chic style. So you successfully resect the liver. What would you like to go on to next?
I think we'll just try to move the stomach out of the way a little bit rather than resecting it. Because again, if need be, stomach's connected to the lower intestine, and I can always resect that if needed.
Stomach Schenectady in New York. Sorry, go ahead.
So yeah.
Sorry, it was an intrusive thought. Go ahead.
Yes, it was. So I will.
Don't
That's
lick my
actually
cards.
what. Is that what?
Don't look my cards.
I feel like that's some of
We're
the
never gonna explain that. You're just gonna have to diss it into our inside joke.
the lyrics that are being sung along this calming
Liver's
music.
connected to the stomach.
Right.
Stomach's connected to the large intestine. Large intestine connected to the small intestine, and that's
All
all.
right. So I'll do that next.
You got it.
Just trying to move it out of the way enough so that I can.
So because you're moving out of the way and you're not removing it from the cavity.
I mean, I'm moving it like from the cavity a little bit.
Yeah, you're pushing it and moving. Yeah,
I'm
I
not
understand.
trying to resect.
It's sure, but it's still like in the body, so it does make the whole process a little bit more complicated because you need more stuff to be pushing stuff away. Nakano's like running out of limbs to be able to clamp stuff and hold stuff for you. You're just like the more, I mean, like the more you need to clamp, push, move, hold, the more difficult it's going to be because you're going to run out of people that are going to be able to help you with this.
Yeah.
It's fine. You're okay right now. I'm just saying that's where we're headed. And it could, arise complications later, but so could resecting an organ. If you fail on resecting an organ, like that's you could get really fucked as well. So everything is a risk.
Yeah. No, that's more so. So yeah. So
The
we'll
stomach
just try to-
seems receptive to it as it's able to be pulled, and Nakano is able to reach in and hold it for you.
Right. Maybe we can use.
Poor Angela, I know she's squeamish about this stuff.
I feel like Nakano's not though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Nakano's like, yeah,
I know. I'm sorry.
I've played with organs before.
It's
I've
fine.
tried to find the best place to stab somebody. If you stab them here, they get sepsis in 30 seconds.
I don't know why she has a British accent. All of a
So
sudden,
sorry.
Sean hammered his finger and it wasn't that bad, but he showed me and he said I said on a scale 1 to 10, how bad is it? He said 4. And I was like, oh my God, that's a 6.
What does that mean? What is that?
Oh,
Well, it's the vast.
Yeah, I also don't understand the scale. Is 10 like
Okay.
no finger? Like I hammered my finger off. Like,
so
It's just flat. It's
I,
just flat. It's fully crushed. It has to be cut off.
Max Payne.
So go ahead, Angela.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
go ahead, no.
No, I want to hear the story more now.
Let's just say wasn't dripping blood, and I said,
it's
so,
just a little
my
blood
level
blisters.
of pain.
It's not
Oh,
Oh,
bad.
that's
Okay.
Yeah.
You're like,
All
oh
right.
my God, that's a 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So we'll continue with major invasive surgery.
yeah,
now
major
with-
invasive surgery and resecting organs. Look at my finger.
Owie, owie, owie.
Owie. Mommy, I got a sliver. Call the ambulance. So you guys do major invasive surgery.
It's just enough to. Nikano would just be holding it for a moment
Okay.
to try to get the portion of the existing diaphragm out of there that I could actually do the scalpel, etc.
Sure, you got it. So one of the things you notice as you continue through this, go ahead and roll a medicine check for me.
Same thing on both die. 19.
19 total. Okay, you successfully move it. What you do notice is that her blood pressure, your patient's blood pressure, Mima's blood pressure, begins to rise. Not a lot, like rapidly, but it is rising. The body is under stress, and she also becomes tachycardic, which means that she just is rapid breathing, like short, rapid breathing.
Okay.
So which means that her blood's not getting oxygenated as well as it could. The opioids still seem to be working, but this just means it's going to make things more complicated moving forward. She's more susceptible to like shock and bad things happening. So you move the stomach out of the way. It looks like you may have to either, the intestines are pretty easy because they're not attached to any lining. They can just be pulled out as far as I am aware of. So do you want to remove some of the intestines?
I'll move them out of the way. Again, whatever, like the duodenum and stuff from...
They can all remain connected. Yep.
Remain connected. Just move it a little bit out of the way so I can resect the existing diaphragm, basically. I would just be moving it a little bit out of the way. It wouldn't have to be held by anything. It would just be like... Because intestines will... There's a lot.
Sure, I got it.
Yeah.
You can move it out of the way easily enough. There's not really a medicine check that's required for this. It's just you reaching in and just being careful with it. And you know what you're doing, and Nakano's helping you, so it's no big deal. I will say that at this moment, you do notice that low blood pressure. You start to understand a little bit more as to why she's having low blood pressure and why she's becoming tacky is because she's losing blood. Like she's bleeding out. She needs a unit of blood soon. She needs a transfusion. She needs to be hooked up to some IV or something in order to replenish her blood because you've had to suck out a lot of blood. You've had to mop up a lot of blood, and she needs it in her body.
Okay.
Meaning that one of the things you didn't do before you started this was find out what her blood type was.
No, because magic, you know.
No, because magic.
Okay.
There is a way for you to find out what blood type her is. It's a minor test, and for you with magic doesn't take too long, but you do have to stop what you're doing and do that.
I mean, I'll do it because I know that if it's not matching, it's not going to work, and she'll reject anyway.
So to do that, Nakano is going to have to use all of her limbs to keep everything in place of what it is that you're doing while you may do that test while this person's open. And the longer this person's open, the more they're susceptible to infection and a whole other grocery list of complications. Make sense? Okay. The test that you have, and it's taking a blood sample of which you have much blood around you're able to use, and engaging some animagian magic, it's like a mixture of druidcraft and like identify, kind of like together, which... because you have access to your sister's spells, this would be this normally would take much longer, but since you have access to your sister's spells, you could do that in very quickly, in a matter of seconds.
Okay.
If that's something you want to do.
Do you want me? I'll go ahead and do it because I know that
it's up to you. Do you want to do it the long way or the short way?
I'll do it the short way, just because again I feel Trishani being right there with me.
Okay.
She was always so much better at understanding exactly what's going on. Anyway,
sure.
So
you do so. That'll help. That'll cut down on the time quite a bit. Just make sure you mark that off. That's not something you can do anymore.
Yeah. No identify.
You got it. You identify the blood. You are able to put it into a vial and be able to identify it as it's like.
Do I need to use? Sorry, one mechanical question. Do I need to use a spell slot for that?
You would be using one of Trishani's spell slots.
Okay. Just double
checking. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Yes, because you're not ritually casting it. You are casting it. Otherwise, it would take much longer.
Yeah, that's why I asked only
Yep.
for the spell. Okay.
So you are able to do that. What you realize is there's kind of a I think that there is a bit of a horror-stricken face that comes across your visage when you realize what's happened once you finish the identify, because you realize that her blood type is B negative Lutheran.
B negative Lutheran?
B negative Lutheran, meaning like it is one of the only blood types that is not capable of receiving like a type O blood, the universal donor.
Okay.
And it is extremely rare blood type. That's what you know out of your knowledge. If you want to, you can roll either a medicine or a history check to try to see if you know or of what else that she could possibly be. It's a very red blood type.
I'll do it, but as I'm doing it, can one of you try to get Tammy or Nofret to get
You know
the
Tammy's
sister?
not going to work. His species has changed.
To get his sister or
Right.
or children here? We need to try to match this blood type, and your mother might have very rare.
You also know in order to test anyone else's blood type, it's going to take time.
Yeah, but it can be
good amount
happening
of
while I'm
time.
doing the other things.
Could be, yeah, but she needs blood soon.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got it. So you do that. What'd you get on your check?
I got 25.
25 for medicine.
Yeah.
That was the DC. So
Hey yo.
That an enhance ability is chef's kiss.
So you understand that the only the only blood options that you could possibly get is that you need another B negative Lutheran, or you need the universal donor for rare blood types as well, which is called RH null. RH null is also called something the golden blood, meaning that anybody anywhere of literally any blood type, even rare blood types, can receive RH null, and it will adapt and be part of the body, and it won't be rejected. RH null is extremely rare. You remember studying in the Animagen academies or what have you, in your Animagen training, is that there have, on record, as far as you understand, there have only ever, in the entire world, there have only ever been 50 people in the history of the world ever to have ever had RH null blood.
I'm
And
also
B negative Lutheran is not as rare, but it's also extremely rare. And what you do learn about B negative Lutheran is that it could possibly like skip family generations. There could be very easily members of a family where only one of them has B negative Lutheran and nobody else does.
I would know my blood type. I'm assuming because of random experiments in schooling. Like
Yeah.
just, hey, freshman year, let's figure out our
Sure,
blood type,
sure.
that kind of thing.
So since we did not set precedent for this before, I'm
Yeah,
going to
just,
Cat college shit, figuring out
Right.
your blood type.
right.
Yeah. So I'm gonna donate plasma because you're a poor college student. So I'm going to leave this entirely up to the dice. Nobody here, we haven't actually set any canon or precedent for what any of your blood types are because it hasn't been a thing. So we're just going to be rolling luck checks if you want to test other people's blood. For you, you would know.
Yeah.
So we're going to have you roll a d20.
Okay.
If you get a 20, you could be, I would say a 19, you're B negative Lutheran. A 20, you're RH null.
Come on. Nope. I'm an 8.
It's an
whatever
8, so
that
you're
is.
AB positive.
AB
let's
positive.
brace you.
Okay. Okay.
Are these real blood types, by the way? I've never
Yeah.
heard
These are
like
real blood
Lutheran.
types.
I've never heard that before.
I
That's
have-
a
B negative
thing.
Lutheran is real, yep.
I haven't heard the Lutheran, the null bit. I've heard before, but
RH null is called golden blood. B
Are there just more
is.
blood types than I'm aware of? I thought it was just like A negative,
Probably.
B, AB, and then O, negative and positive, and then
No,
there's
so they're rare blood types. B negative Lutheran is a rare blood type. RH null is the rarest blood type. There are among many other rare blood. Well, many, but there are other blood types. Yeah.
you said AB negative.
You're
is that-
AB. Did I say AB negative or AB positive? I think AB positive is what I said.
Okay, AB positive.
Not like it's gonna fucking matter, except
It
for this one
could-
scene in the entire game.
it could
We'll see.
someday.
We'll see. Yeah. Like I'm gonna have to study some hematology.
I've done a lot of surgery in this campaign.
Gonna be a blood hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
interesting
Ooh,
mix.
can you imagine?
Would be an
Like the
interesting mix.
hematology doctor is a blood hunter and just like licks it and goes like, "That's O negative," and just is able to like, figure it out just by licking it.
It's
Okay,
best.
Nakano, Scoop, do you know your blood types? Did you ever do it? Were you ever curious? You ever got just tested?
I think
funsies?
probably among the entire party, the only other person that would probably know what their blood type would be Nakano, because she's an expert in making people bleed. So I think that's probably the only one that might know. Nakano, if you want to roll a d20 to find out what your blood type is, you can. Oh,
Yeah.
lost.
Oh, well.
I do.
I'm gonna come back. I promise. There we go.
All right.
What are you?
What'd you get?
19.
Oh wow!
Shut the fuck
I swear to God.
Shut the fuck up. Take a picture of it right now. That's amazing.
You
Are you
scared
kidding
me.
I had
What
like a
move?
whole I had a whole side quest ready for you guys, and
I was about to
you've
run
entirely
like,
subverted it.
I'm like tearing up a little bit because it's so poetic
I'm
that you
sending
might be
it.
able to donate to Tammy's mom.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
So
right.
Miss Shenny, you asked Nakano, what's your blood? Because all this stuff happens in your head, right? And
Yeah.
it happens very, very fast. And you turn to Nakano and you say, "Do you know what blood type you are?" And she says, "What do you say?" Because you're B negative Lutheran, but what do you say?
I'm B negative. I actually thought I was A negative.
No, B negative Lutheran. It's very
Oh,
different.
Lutheran.
Yeah.
I'm
B
B
negative
negative Lutheran.
Are you kidding me? That's so rare. How? What are the chances? Okay. All right. Keep those limbs there, but I will need this limb if you're willing to donate a little bit of blood for Mima. You're a match.
Oh,
She's a
really?
very rare type. Yeah, you're a very
Wow.
rare type. There's only one other blood type that might have worked, and I've only known 50 cases in the entire, world to even be there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, are you okay with it?
I'm okay with that. Just
Okay.
I'm gonna look away.
That's fine.
Nakano's gonna, so she can make other people bleed, no problem. Disembowel people, behead people, eviscerate people, bisect people, no problem. But as soon as it comes to somebody like putting a needle in her and getting blood from her, she's like, I can't look.
I
Yeah.
can't look.
Squeeze your leg. Squeeze your leg. Ah,
Yeah. I can't look.
don't feel the pain.
Getting stabbed in battle, no problem. Getting blood drawn, so
Yeah.
People are just afraid of needles, you know?
What are the
That's the thing.
chances?
needles. Needles is wild.
This is crazy.
I better play Lotto. It's 1.4 billion.
I know, you really should.
Technically, the chances are 2 in 20, so like 1 in 10, I guess, for you
but
to do.
still,
Okay, but
But still, like, yeah, that was still wild. Yeah.
so I will start prepping, just getting a blood transfusion for her. Obviously, I don't have like plastic bags, but I have vials, etc. that I can.
Yeah, I mean, you can easily use some tubing and other types of. You can easily fashion something. Actually, why don't you do me a favor and roll a MacGyver check, like a tinkering check. We'll just say, just roll a medicine check again, because this is pretty much just medicine. You're just using pieces around you. I will say that you won't be able to do this with advantage, because normally this would be disadvantage, because this isn't a thing that you thought you were gonna need.
Okay. Well, that's too bad because both of them
Just take whichever one was lower.
they were both the same.
Okay, then that's fine. So tell me what it was.
27.
20. Yeah, you're able to easily enough. You are able to take some of. What you're able to do is cannibalize one of the masks that's not being used, and use some of the tubing that's there to create. What
I
you
used
needed.
Tammy's mask. Yeah.
Yeah, you use Tammy's mask. You cannibalize. So I mean, like, for the mask to work again, you're gonna have to put it back together after this. It won't be difficult. You'll just need to know that they're both not working. That one's not working right now.
Okay.
You're able to easily then. Actually, Nakano has a blade that has a hole in it. Remember, so that you're able to use that as a kind of a syringe and able to draw the blood. And so right now, just to paint the picture for you, Nakano is hooked up to an IV to extract blood to a leather pouch, some sort of bag, meaning that one of her limbs can't be used right now because it's being drawn. But she's also helping you do surgery. You're at like the max capacity. Everything's maxed out.
Yeah.
Unless a scoop top's playing music, that's like you're maxed out.
Woo! With the little blood.
I mean, you can stop it. It's not the worst. It's just kind of like part of normally what's happening.
I'll tap with my foot and help. You know.
All right, that sounds good. I'll tap along with you.
There we go.
Yeah. All right.
You grab Tammy's wood block and you put it down on and you just perfect. So you're able to do this. You're going to actually. It makes more sense for you to just connect her tube straight into Mima, rather than have it go through a bag and then have it come there. Meaning that Nakano, you have to have your hand like up. Or in a position where it's like gravity is taking and your heart is pumping faster than her heart is pumping, meaning that you have to like be dancing kind of to make sure your blood pressure is high so that it is higher than her blood pressure, and that that the pressure is going to create suction so that it goes into her body. Make sense?
We'll tap a really good beat so you can dance too.
Yeah.
Okay?
So everybody's just kind of like doing
Everyone's jiving.
dancing in the OR.
Some James Blake.
to James Blake, apparently.
Well, we went to a concert yesterday.
Yeah,
it was
he told us about it.
It was very like that.
It was very head bob.
Yeah.
It's very clubby.
Clubbing.
I think that's what we were listening to yesterday, hon.
Oh, it totally was. We were listening to James
You listened to
Blake
James Blake yesterday? That's
yes,
fun.
we
we were.
absolutely did. We were listening to house music to like do some cool soli stuff.
Yeah, his like deeper cut house music shit is. Anyway.
Okay, so it's working. Her blood pressure starts to rise, and it starts to equalize to the point where if her blood pressure lowers, then the suction will pull more of Nakano's blood into it. Nakano is lithe, but this is a halfling, so as long as some real bad complications don't happen and she starts to have a big bleeder, Nakano should be okay as far as how much blood that she's donating.
Okay.
But, if it starts to get past like the whole liter and a half thing, Nakano's going to start to get woozy, and she's going to be rolling everything at disadvantage because she will not have enough blood in her own body to be able to support this. You also know that the chances of anybody else having a blood type that's going to help Mima are astronomical.
Yeah.
So you just have to be careful. Every time you make a mistake, there's bleeding and a complication. So
Okay.
things could go wrong. But right now you're okay, Nakano. What I'll have you do is that sometimes I'll have you roll con saves to just make sure that you can, maintain your full faculties while you're losing blood. Make sense?
One can keep asking questions and stuff too.
Cool. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so we did the liver. We did move the stomach aside, move the upper intestines
You are
aside.
ready
We
to
can-
extricate the diaphragm now. This is one of the harder things to do. There's a lot of incisions, a lot of cutting needs to happen. There's a lot of suction that needs to happen. This is one of the reasons why she needs the blood. So even with this, in order to make sure that her blood pressure remains, you need a whole unit of blood. And you start to do the math in your head, realizing that if you're going to need a whole unit of blood for this, you're most likely also going to need a whole unit of blood for the lungs, meaning that there's no way it is possible for Nakano to not at some point get wheezy during this surgical thing. And so when you start to like cut the lungs out, she will start to get wheezy, and it's going to be harder for her to help at all. If you make a mistake, there is a very good chance that she could pass out if she continues to donate blood.
Scoop, are you willing to donate a little bit of blood? I am too, but I know that you're not necessarily the blood type, but I think Drashani's here with me. I think I might have an idea. I'll explain it later.
Oh my God! If you do, I think you're gonna do.
I'm fine with it.
Okay. I'd like to use fabricate to turn.
I knew you were gonna fucking say that.
to turn at least a liter or to like 1.5 liters of each.
Because you
of-
have a sample, so you can
of
create
both
more
the
of it.
scoop and Maya's blood and we can save it into another vat and turn it into a matching type of blood.
I'll do you one better.
if that's okay.
This-
You could possibly do that. Your best bet for that is rather than cast fabricate on a vat of blood and then have it exposed to auction and have it.
No,
like,
I was saying within.
yeah, I'm getting to that. Your best bet is to have all of you daisy chain connected with blood, like human centipede blood transfusion style, and have like yours connected to a scoop and a scoop's connected to Nakano and Nakano connected to Mima,
Does
and cast fabricate on the tubing or like the bodies that have so that because if you change their blood style in their body, they're gonna go through shock.
Yeah, no,
because
it's
they're-
not the body itself.
Yeah, you can. So you're using the spell in not a way that it's like entirely intended. So I'm still gonna make you do a check for it, but you'll absolutely be able to kind of like use magic on those like tubings between the daisy chains in order to possibly change the blood type because you have samples of both and you have Nakano. You could like change the output to the input. You
Yeah.
could do that. I'm gonna make you roll for this though. This is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, and it is a 4th level spell slot too.
Yeah.
So it's hefty.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have this is an Arcana check. This is
Okay.
not a medicine check.
No, that makes sense.
does one blood type overpower the others?
So as far as to my knowledge, which is minimal, in hematology, there are if you're the same blood type, you can donate and receive the same blood type. If you are of O blood type, I don't remember if it's O positive, O negative, or whatever it is, but some type of O blood type, you're a universal donor to most of the common blood types. If you are B negative Lutheran, you're a very rare blood type. You can only receive B negative Lutheran or the golden blood, which is the even rare blood type, and all blood types RH null. No matter what blood type you are, whether it's rare or not, you can receive from RH null and be okay. It's actually the true wild card. Does that answer your question?
No. Does one
say it again?
overpower? Does the one?
No, they
blood-
don't like overpower.
It's
No,
reset. It's
like
re-
like
it's
doesn't-
not like that. It's not like a one blood type is stronger than the other. It doesn't have to do with that. It just has to do with what is it? The hemoglobin and the
it's the
red
proteins on the outside of the surface of
The red
things.
blood
So
cells?
it's honestly
Okay.
like, yeah, it's honestly just what's compatible.
blood. Yeah, it's like saying one DNA is stronger than another. Not really. They're just different, and they won't work together if they're not the same. Does that make sense?
okay.
And just that O is a mostly universal donor and it can adapt to be a different type of blood type, and RH null is a true universal donor and can adapt to be.
Why are there different blood types? It's real weird.
It's different types of proteins because diversity helps with making sure that
Biodiversity.
if something were to attack one type of blood type, there's not just
Yeah, if we were
everybody
all
dies.
like AB,
Oh, that's real smart.
if we were all AB negative and a disease
Evolution.
affected only people with AB negative blood, the
Oh
humans could
shit.
die out. So
That's
it's
real
a,
smart.
It's a
Yeah.
mutation to make sure that there's biodiversity.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, nature, you are crazy.
Yeah, nature's the same. Yay, real science and fantasy games.
Yay.
So you're not there's no like threat of like overpowering. It's not really a thing. It's not how it works. It's just compatibility. Okay, so what'd you get for your Arcana check?
I haven't rolled it yet, but I will caveat just so it's clear that backflow wouldn't happen if something does go awry with this. So like if we're interconnected between the different tubes.
Yeah, you technically have a siphon going, so you'll be
Yeah,
fine. Yeah.
but not from one individual to another. It'd just be like there would be no possibility of like if I don't do well with the scoop's blood, for example, it doesn't go back to me and makes me.
So I have a question for you.
affected.
You can either daisy chain yourself or all hook yourself up to Nakano.
I think hooking ourselves up to Mima
He's
would
getting
be
a hookup.
better. Possibly.
I'm gonna use my GM powers here and say one of the caveats of being able to fabricate that, meaning it has to be done in a body that has a quantity of samples.
So then to Nakano then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So you can all hook up. So Nakano has a bunch of just tubes and needles in her right now. Sorry, Angela. Where there's a tube coming from.
So if there's a sample, it'll work. So we don't
There's a
have to put
sample. She's using a spell called Fabricate, which is
Yes.
able to like reorganize stuff.
Typically,
It's not
it's
necessarily
raw.
the way that spell is used, but
It's typically raw material to turn it into like.
If there was a third party involved, say an object, could you siphon it out through that and just put it in through Nakano? Just one into Nakano?
you could, yeah, if you want to
Okay,
like
I take out my
create-
vial blood that holds everyone's blood throughout all the fights and use that as a third party.
Oh, I understand. Like you want to use a jar of blood that has a siphon from one end and an input another. Yeah, you can use that as kind of like a battery for blood. Yeah, you could
Yeah.
use that. Absolutely. So all of you guys go into there, and then that blood goes into Nakano, and then Nakano's B negative Lutheran goes into Mima. Yeah, you got it.
I didn't
I
know.
hope nobody's
solved.
got a bloodborne disease.
Yeah. On that note,
Oh no! I'm sorry. No.
a scoop.
Magic. This is magic. It's fabric.
Yeah.
Do you still have?
This is not
some-
real blood. It's
Do you
magic
still
blood.
have some? Do you, a scoop. Do you still have some of your skin that's starting to transform?
Rock. Yes.
But technically, TJ, if I'm transforming the blood, period,
That's what the roll's for.
awesome.
I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm so sorry.
It was gonna happen regardless.
Well, this is why it's good that it's going into
Okay.
a third-party vessel.
That's good. That's good.
Instead.
hmm But it also means that because of how infectious this thing is, if it goes into a third-party vessel, it could. Well, let's see what you roll.
No,
and then we'll tell you what's going to happen.
like I said, I wouldn't
It's
allow
magic.
the
It's
tubing
magic.
to go the other way.
It doesn't matter. Like his blood is going into the same vessel as your blood is going into.
Yeah, but I
That's
wouldn't
what
be
I
able
mean.
to catch it.
There's no way you would know this. So Scoop hasn't made it aware of you guys.
No,
before, has he?
That's true.
I would make sure that it would only go one way. The vessel's blood would only go one way. Like the
So
not the
just go to
vessel's blood,
Nakano.
It wouldn't
the
go.
tubing.
That's what I mean. Like it won't go back to you
Yeah.
or a Scoop, but it will go to Nakano.
Yeah. Good,
And
Nakano.
do you remember who
Yeah,
was? Do you
okay.
remember who was the
Yeah, I
second
know.
choice for the broker
I know.
to make the deal?
I know.
That'd be pretty cool.
All right.
It was Nakano.
23.
23. Okay. You got a 23 on the Arcana check. You think seems like it's working well. You because there's no way for you to be really to tell. You just cast the spell, and unless like Nakano starts to go into like septic shock or whatever, some sort of like shock or rejecting it, and so coughing blood or whatever the side effects of having the wrong blood transfusion would be. You don't see her immediately.
Am I
have any
still
side
like
effects.
worried about this though, or
That's up to you.
I mean, Trisheni doesn't know. Or Misheni, sorry.
I know
Happen.
it's
So you shouldn't be worried one bit.
I know, but TJ's face and being like, "Oh, you're not
I'm
worried
more questioning
about
why,
this?"
like, wait, we can't use it DM inspiration.
That's why I'm asking. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
mean, I still rolled pretty darn high, but
You
not...
feel like it's working because Nakano's not convulsing on the floor. That's your sign.
That's true.
As far
But
as
what about Mima?
Yeah, is Mima doing okay?
Mima's, she's still slightly tacky, but her blood pressure seems to be within acceptable levels at this moment. She's
What
still
do you mean
getting
by
transfusions.
tacky? Is her heart rate up? Is that what you mean?
Tachycardic means that
TACHY.
you are short, rapid breathing.
Okay.
It's just a short term that's used in like the ED and the ER for that type of thing.
Okay. I'm gonna do a roll. Nope, I think it's fine.
Okay. So you've, for the foreseeable future, drawing on all of your blood and allowing Nakano to be your transformer via this fabricate spell and this other like blood battery bottle, feel like you've solved the blood problem as far as that is. Unless some intensive complications happen, you feel like you have a good supply here.
Okay.
This also means that should this start to be a protracted thing and start to go off at length, and there are complications, not just Akano, but all of you could suffer that type of wooziness and
Yeah.
low blood pressure and There is the
Well, that would be
possibility
a
where
lot of bleeding then.
there could be, but there is the possibility that all three of you could pass out and nobody would know. And you guys are all just passed out in the OR theater and nobody would know that that's what's happening. So
Hey, Scoop, just in case something happens, do you mind, like, telling Tammy some way? Like, I don't know if you want to use the spell slot for it, but just have him keep an eye on the window or something. I know he's smoking right now, but...
Do you want me to scream? I don't have sending.
Oh, yeah, that could work. Well, I'm worried about me waking up.
I'll try to throw some rocks at the window.
Okay, that works.
So throw some rocks at the window. You got it.
All right.
Assume I'm rolling perception
If there's
check.
no rocks.
Yeah, you're gonna roll a perception check. Let me go to the bathroom real quick while you roll a perception check. And you
Everybody
can,
has a pocket full of rocks at all times in D&D.
Why don't you like
Exactly.
also act the scene that you and your dad are having outside while this is happening?
But I need my dad.
Just whatever's going through, just whatever Tamarin's saying is, as your dad, no frets, pretty silent and quiet, and just keeps puffing on his cigar after everything that you say.
Oh my god. It's a lot of pressure. Well, Dad,
Yes, one.
here we are.
Perfect. Gotta get a little more Brooklyn with that accent, but you good.
Here we are. This is where Mom lives or dies. She's lived through worse. So, I say her odds are pretty good. What do you say, Pops?
It's been I'm trying to think of the accent.
Yeah.
Just go, hey, yo, and then start talking.
Yep.
Hey yo, she's a
Ayo.
strong woman.
I think
I went to like
Jersey.
a Jamaican voice or something.
Yeah, right. That is more Jersey. It's a fine line.
She'll
Yeah.
make it through it.
She's a strong woman.
You know, yeah, she's a strong woman.
She's got strong blood.
She'd be okay.
That's what I admire most about Mom. She's very strong, but she was also a tender mother who showed a lot of love and affection.
I gotta do I gotta do it like this? Where she's that type of woman. No, that doesn't work.
She's a type of
Try
woman.
this.
You know, she tries
She's
this.
the
You
type
do a
of
little
woman.
bit of the. Not
I
that.
could hear my voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Hey. Yeah, you know. Brooklyn. You just gotta say that, and then you got.
Brooklyn, huh?
No, it doesn't work. I can't do it. Brooklyn? No.
Say Verrazano.
Verrazano?
Verrazano. The Verrazano. The traffic's Hey, oh, the fucking traffic's backed up from fucking Bushwick to Verrazano.
Listen, son, what do you
Hey.
want to talk like?
She was able to cross the Verrazano Bridge, you know, like 20 times a day. Of course, she's fine.
Do you want to talk about something else while we're out here? Like, I understand it's going a lot, but we shouldn't be.
I mean, I can't really. She's kind of on my mind, you know?
I understand, but we always have to hope the best for her. You know, it's not.
What else
it's
do we
not-
have in what else do we have in common, Dad? We both like gardening, I think. We both like
both
digging
like-
in dirt. We both
Yeah, we like-
fucking
We
like
do.
dirt.
you just put your
Sorry, that's my multiple personality disorder that's coming out. Sorry.
It's okay. You sounded different there for a minute.
It's all right. Sorry. You know what? I just gotta say to you, you know how much I love bridges. You know how much I love digging. You know how much I love your mother. You know how much I
Yeah.
love your face when you look at your mother. When I look at my mother. I mean your mother and my wife and then her mother was very sweet. Very
Aw.
sweet. We didn't
For a
know how
bunch of
much
pretty
I-
hardened folk, you and Mom are both pretty big hams, huh?
He has this like big frown on his face, and he just kind of like quickly turns around and just looks up. Oh, the star is beautiful. He's,
Aren't
like,
the
trying
stars
not-
beautiful? Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
he's like turning around trying to make it so that you don't see him cry as he's like the stars are beautiful, aren't they?
Yeah,
Man,
I see the twinkle
wonder
of
when this
mother's
rain will
eye in the
stop.
stars. Wait, is it
I
raining or are there stars?
No, I mean it's raining. It's raining. As you see
Oh,
the teardrops of his eyes. are start falling onto the ground. Like, yeah, I just wondered why this rain started so
I'm
suddenly.
just raining pretty hard, Dad. We're both crying.
Oh.
Go ahead and roll your perception check.
I don't like rolling perception checks. Can I roll something else?
No.
Whoa. Sorry. 13.
13. I don't think it's that difficult to notice. You do have to throw a pebble like through the webbing of the OR theater all the way through the galley kitchen to the window that is on the front of it. So who's throwing this pebble?
Am I using are we using a blowpipe at all for the lungs or no?
Not currently. The lungs are.
The lungs
Okay.
haven't been removed yet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll just. Oh shit.
Who's throwing the pebble?
I mean, I was just gonna use the blowpipe instead.
Oh, just to like blow pipe? Yeah, go ahead and roll attack roll on the window.
Yay.
The window has 3/4 cover because you have to
Dirty
do
20.
it through a web. Dirty 20. Okay, yeah, that'll hit. You stick the blowpipe through the webbing, you and hit the window. It goes like, and it like does that spidery kind of shatter a little bit as one of the needles of the blowpipe is set into the window. And Tamron, you turn around and you see this little needle in the window that came from inside that's just now stuck in the glass.
They're under attack. And I run in.
You run in, throw the door open, run into the kitchen, start to go down the alley and see all this web that's everywhere.
Cameron,
You
watch
can't really
over
go
us.
any further.
I
Your
stop
dad's right
short.
behind you. Yeah. What do you guys want? Tamara's
What's
right there.
going on?
We're all hooked up. We're all donating to your mom, especially Nakano regarding blood.
Yeah, you see the scene that they're all connected with tubes and needles to like a jar, and then connected to Nakano, and then Nakano's connected with a tube and a needle to your mom.
I feel pretty good, but you never know. Just can you keep an eye on us? If we all pass out, that's not a good thing.
Sure.
Okay? Cool,
Yes.
because that is a possibility. All right, going back. Here we go. Maybe leave some orange juice like near the door, if that's cool.
Do I have any smelling salts around just in case? Need to wake anybody up?
You can look for them. Do you want to roll investigation checks? See if you can find some smelling salts in your own house. I'll give you advantage because it's your house. Well, your parents' house.
$11.
11. You find some fresh squeezed OJ and a really smelly piece of something that was in the back of the fridge that you don't know, or like the ice box or whatever it was that you don't know what that was, but it's doesn't smell good, but it's very pungent.
That'll do.
No idea what that was. It's just become this like black and white kind of like sludge
Ew.
in like a small like wide fat mason jar.
It'll do.
It'll do.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. So you stand there with some orange juice and some smelly sludge. You're right. So we're gonna move on now. Here, you are now pulling out the diaphragm, and you understand that. Then you have the blood hooked up, so you solve that problem. Go ahead and roll a medicine check to pull this thing out. This is going to be a 2-step process because there's a lot of. I'm making this up as I go, but it would make sense that there's probably a lot to remove a diaphragm because it's kind of attached to everything.
Yeah. I look at both Nakano and a scoop and just say, thank you again for both being here. I can't tell you how much you both are helping right now. And that's a 26.
26. That was really good. Yeah, the first thing you're able to get the lining from the sides and the top. Seem to be pulling it out, able to get enough suction and enough padding to prevent the blood. Go ahead and do the next one.
Okay. There's next incision.
Durs, right?
Durs Noctur.
Durs Noctur.
28.
28.
Yeah.
Fuck. can't get any bad rolls from you.
I mean, you totally can.
So
but
you are able to completely remove the diaphragm. Diaphragm has the same kind of like markings and tough cartilage, like tough muscle and skin of that kind of patterned feel that's very similar to that iconic of that Drakesh type style, as you are able to remove it. And what do you want to do with it?
I'm going to put it in a jar because I am curious about it. and
Okay,
I
yeah, you
will
can
study
fold it
later.
up and throw it in a jar if you want. Yeah, easily.
Okay, because it might still be undergoing the process.
So I'm going to give you a choice here. Are you going to now replace the diaphragm first, or are you going to go to the lungs first?
Diaphragm first, because
Okay.
then I can use the diaphragm possibly once the lungs are in to help create.
You would be able to put a lot of the organs back once you do so. Yeah.
Right, that as well. And plus then I would be able to give proper dimensions to the just the cavity as well.
Sure. So go ahead. Since you have the diaphragm there, I'm just going to roll to see if there's any.
I
Okay.
think the diaphragm was quite good on this specimen before.
Diaphragm is rather good. However, you do see her begin to stir. Mima begins to stir. You see her like begin to start to make noise and begin to, from what you can try to see, like beginning to regain consciousness mid in heavily invasive surgery.
No. Shh. I try to put a little bit more opium into her system.
You can. It's possible. You can. You also know that this drug is dangerous to be using in large quantities, to the point where it could also put her into like cardiac arrest, especially at her age. It could also make her heart rate get so low that she just stops.
Yeah.
It's like having an overdose of morphine. You have to be really, really careful with this.
Yeah. A scoop. She's starting to wake. Do you have anything that could help with like keeping somebody asleep or pretending that they're like dead or anything like that? I know things change for you day to day, but I don't want to like bonk her over their head or give her too much opium too.
You guys have to make the decision quickly because she is beginning to awake.
No, I don't.
Okay.
That I'm aware of.
I'm gonna use charm person on her, and say,
Okay.
you know what? You're so sleepy, and kind of do like more of a hypnotist type thing.
Sure.
The charming.
And then
her.
when someone who's charmed takes damage, they pop out of it, right? As you're cutting into her every moment.
Or you do anything harmful to it? Yes. Sorry. I was just trying to.
I
do
would consider
something.
It's
removing a
helpful. It's not
diaphragm.
harmful. It's surgery.
I guess, Doc. I guess
She
it
did
is
consent to
Hippocratic
it.
oath.
She did.
You
consent
guys
to
are
it.
really getting me on syntax here. Like, it is very do no harm, but it's like you're still cutting her. This is.
and she consented.
It's a very weird.
It still
decision. I
hurts.
I understand if you don't want to do it. If you want to, like, because I'm trying to do it with.
I'll
like,
leave
a
it to the dice
hypnotist.
because I'm not.
But
quite
it's not
sure.
an
So how-
attack, though. It's not an attack.
Why don't you go ahead and do me roll an Arcana check to see how if this goes the way you want it to go.
21.
Yeah, okay. She's gonna be awake for the rest of the surgery unless you put her back under for this, though. Is that a concentration spell?
No, I don't think so. I didn't have anything that I was concentrating on anyway. Nope, not a concentration.
So it's just an hour, right?
An hour it lasts.
An
yeah.
hour. So she awakes, and like right when she's about to like inhale to scream in pain because her organs are outside of her body, and her diaphragm has been removed, and you see her BP start to rise even more so. You cast Charm Person on her, and just make sure. Yeah, she got a 5 for her save, so there's no way she saves against it. And you are able to put her. What is it that you're trying to charm her to be? Like just calm, like kind of calm emotions type style, or?
It is.
Because a charm person is all well and good. It doesn't stop her from feeling the pain.
Yeah, no, it's more like. It is almost like a feeble attempt at like calm emotions in that way. It's more of just like, it's that period between waking and sleeping where you're kind of aware of
okay.
everything going on. So she understands what's going on, but you're not fully feeling everything
understand.
and aware.
I'm very familiar
Literally
with this you when
hypnotized.
you're like not quite awake and you fall asleep and you're just like, I'm going to knock it out of your hands. And
Yeah.
you just say like silly things because you're not quite there because you're still loopy.
Yeah.
Like you want
You're-
to keep her in that state.
You
Yeah.
know, it's fine. Just stay asleep a little bit longer. You know, it's all good. Tell me about Tammy. You know, and I'll just make small talk with her where I can to try to keep her like, you know, in that calm.
Okay, cool. I'll say that works. She's still like feeling the pain, but she's trying to like zen through it in that kind of half asleep, loopy state and trying to mantra her way through it as you've tried to like kind of calm, charm her in that way. I will say that for every like intensive thing that you do to her, she's going to roll a con save to see if she can keep herself in that state through
fair.
what it is that she's doing. And every time that she fails, she becomes more and more and more conscious. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So we're gonna do this every time you roll. I'm a roll too.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah. Yep. It does.
You see her begin to mumble again. Scoop, do you want to read lips again? I can't hear you. Sorry, buddy. I think you're muted or something.
Yeah, sure. Was it insight?
Okay, yeah. Why don't you? Again, it's still a little bit garbled, so go ahead and roll another insight check for me. But now you are most definitely on the clock. Unless you want to drug this person and put them under again, which is still also dangerous. You're riding a very fine line here. Sorry, go ahead.
17.
17. All right, you're able to get another.
Actually, it's at advantage because it's wisdom.
Right.
That's true.
Do it.
It's 15. And do you want me to roll again? Because I forgot the first one was wisdom.
Yeah, just re-roll at advantage, just so that we know, so that we can be all's fair.
Trishani is still at my feet, helping me.
And that's 22.
22. Okay, so you're able to pretty much get almost everything she says here. She says, again, not a whole lot of sound is actually exiting her mouth, so you only get what the words would be. So in your mind, you see, in the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed.
Do you have that written down somewhere,
Mhm.
TJ? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that from you later
Yep.
then.
You
I hate poetry.
try.
I'm kidding. That was great.
No, for notes,
This is for you, Sean.
notes purposes. Notes purposes.
You see, like this kind of like mantra that she's saying is to try to keep herself like together, hardy, firm. You need to now start to apply the diaphragm, and you need to start doing this. You're now you're on a clock.
Yeah.
This whole hour as to how much a charmed person lasts, that doesn't matter as much as how every round now this person has to see if they're going to be able to maintain what it is going on to help.
sure.
them. Okay, so you have to attach. You realize that stitching is going to take. It's going to take time that you maybe don't have, and so you may have to like try to just heal the tissue and meld the tissue together.
I'll do a cure wounds.
Okay, I would say with the
Well, I don't have cure wounds. I have the healing spirit.
as a ranger. Oh, interesting. Okay, I was about to say you might have to drop a couple of those, but as the nature of healing spirit, it just kind of sits there because there is quite a bit of real estate that you need to heal up
Yeah.
here. So yeah, I would say just roll an Arcana check to see if you can get it to be in that spot that it needs to be in, and not like close up your actual surgical theater.
My little falcon comes out.
Sure.
12.
12. Okay.
That's using Trisheni's too.
Using Trisheni's. Okay, so you are able to heal it along the way. I'm going to fast forward just a little bit here, but you are able to, as best as you can, there's definitely some scar tissue that isn't great. It's not an ideal adhesion, but you are able to get the diaphragm in there and are able to hook it up, make sure the blood is pumping through it. However, because of that, the healing spirit is, a creature and it has to sit in a certain place, and you're trying to put the creature in their abdominal cavity and like move it around. And it's like super hard because you can't quite get it the right spot, and you do realize that some of your incisions for that were keeping the liver and a couple of other things excised and making sure that the lungs weren't under an immense amount of pressure do start to heal and constrict, and you see the BP start to rise, and they become more and more tacky, and they start to.
This would be over several rounds, I'm assuming, as well. Too.
It's like over 18 seconds because you're doing this fast. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess that fourth round, because I think I have it for enough. Take it from me, but I think I have it for 4 rounds. I think that last round I would try to undo the bits that it had.
You can. This is you only have 2 hands.
I know.
There's only so much you can do. You can focus on the spell, you can move it around, you can do this. You are moving as fast as you can. You got for the Arcana check, you got a 12. You can roll another medicine check here, but this you're starting to. It's do or die now.
22.
22. All right, you're able to cut what needs to be cut that you needed to, some parts melded and healed to things that they weren't supposed to be healed to. So you're making other cuts, which requires more blood. And the diaphragm is in, but it's starting to create worse problems. She got a natural 1 on her con save to see if she could remain in it. And you see her start immediately right back to consciousness, full consciousness. That was the only way for her to come back to full consciousness. And you see her start to and start to as she's under an immense amount of pain, an extremely immense amount of pain.
Can I use a DM inspiration for that?
To make me reroll?
Yep.
You can if you like, I suppose.
Okay.
Can I also use sorcery points to make you roll a d4 against that?
Oh.
I mean, Ben Luck?
Because he is in the other room watching.
Is that what it does? Can I?
Also, Nakano can use lucky.
Right.
I do that.
Yeah, Nakano can only use lucky on a roll that she rolls and an attack against her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was just saying it has to be a roll.
Okay.
You
when
want to use your
creature you can see makes an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw
Yeah.
I will say you can make me re-roll that
as a bonus or penalty.
You can maybe add do you want to use your DM inspiration to make me re-roll it and then add the D4 to minus it?
Let's see.
What did you get?
I got a natural 1.
And that was the only way that she was going to come back fully to consciousness.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Great.
So.
Yeah, just DM inspiration.
Okay, you're going to use a world inspiration. You got it. Okay. That was a 2. Not a whole lot better. So
okay, well, let's add that.
But you do see her start to come, she's she doesn't come right back right away, but you see her kind of regain consciousness for a second before a scoop kind of grabs her head on either side and goes shh, and she does kind of go into just barely under the surface of subconsciousness, but you see her she's still in pain. You still feel her feeling the pain, and she starts to mutter faster and louder when she goes, beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade. You're on a clock now. It's now or never, and you have to move fast because if she gets to
bend luck to that.
I mean, it was a 2. What are you going to do? Minus it by what? Where is it going to go? Save it. Use it for something else. Just because, I mean, it's not going to go anywhere.
I hear Trishini whisper in my mind. You can move a little faster and cast haste on me.
You cast haste on yourself. That means what you were concentrating on before drops.
I didn't have anything I was concentrating on.
Right, healing spirit is not.
Spirit went away.
Okay,
at this point,
so you cast haste on yourself. You now see Macheni's hands move extremely fast, lightning fast, like Data in that one episode of Star Trek where he's trying to fix the positronic brain of the android that he built, and he's trying to repair all of the brain synapses as fast as he can, but they keep breaking down faster than he can move, lightning fast. She's trying to stop all of these bleeders and veins from popping, and she's moving her hands, moving lightning fast through her. Tamron, you see Macheni's hands move extremely fast. You can only see the blur of her hands trying to save your mother's life, trying to move things and organs in the right places, preventing the leaders from happening. She's stitching faster than anybody can see. Nakano, you're having a difficulty keeping up with them, and the faster you move, the more blood, the higher blood pressure goes, the more blood pressure you have. I need you to roll a con save for me. As you see the jar begins to like bubble and like overflow as too much blood is going into the jar because the blood pressure is so high.
That's an 18.
18, you're able to stand up through sheer will alone, even though your body is losing blood at a rapid rate.
13.
You are able to, you got a 13, a scoop, go ahead, do the same thing.
Fine.
Con save.
19.
19. Okay, you're okay. Through sheer will alone, you see Nakano get a little woozy, but she stands back up. Through sheer will alone, you are able to stand and continue and push your hands lightning fast through all of these movements. You need to get rid of these lungs. You need to put the other lungs in, and you need to do it now.
Yeah. Let's go fast. Go. No, I need more blood. Let's.
You see
4 by
that
4s, go.
her voice starts to escalate in pitch about like an octave and a half because it's just and the only people that are really able to pick it up are a Scoop who can read lips and the very intelligent and very perceptive Nakano who's used to things moving extremely fast. Tamron, the effect of what is going on before you is a blur of motion, but you understand that things aren't going as well as they could be, and everyone's in a bit of a panic mode. You see No Fret behind you, like, squeeze your wrist as hard as he possibly can, and he, like, almost stops breathing for a moment. He's as he's, like, watching what's happening. What are you doing?
I mean, it's just kind of like that car crash horror shit. You just can't look away, you know? Like,
Yeah.
It's horrifying, and I want to leave, and I don't want to be here, but I also, like, I cannot leave, you know?
You're like
Physically
a
can't
deer in
move.
headlights, frozen in
paralyzed.
place, paralyzed just by the horror of what's happening. You like want to do something, but you have no idea what it is, so you're stuck in this petrified indecision. So roll your medicine check.
I'll. 23.
23. You see her start to come. She's now become more conscious and aware of things as like her eyes blearily open. She's not quite at full consciousness yet, but she's just under the surface, like almost like a dorsal fin breaking the surface of the water. And she's becoming more and more awake. And if she becomes full awake and thrashes, it's over.
I'll use a world inspiration to. Can I use it for her?
You can make me re-roll if you want.
Yeah.
Well, hold on, before we do that, can I just use sorcery points on bad
Yeah,
luck
sure.
for that roll?
Sure.
Seemed like it was maybe kind of close.
It was pretty close. Just roll your d4 and tell me what it is.
Oh, I rolled the d4.
Yeah, you roll the d4.
Sorry. Four.
4.
Hey!
That's enough. That'll bring it down. You see her like come up for breath for just a moment and then go back down. You hear her say only. You see her say only one more line, and yet the menace of the years. As she's trying to mantra and keep herself together under excruciating pain, you move forward. You are able to cut one of the lungs free from the lining.
And I would be having the other lung ready.
Yep.
In place.
As you cut, there's a bleeder. As blood
Okay.
begins to gush into the rib cavity.
Fuck. There's.
Wait,
a-
world inspiration. I can't have my mom bleeding all over the place.
Okay.
but-
All right. Okay. Make sure you're keeping track of how many you're spending. That is just enough. It went from a 3 to a 10. That was just enough. So you see, Tamron, you have this like vision of like the worst possible thing that could happen through your wild magic and what you see sometimes through the future and just what could possibly happen. It's very similar to how you felt when you were with that what was the name of the shapeshifter that was that
Seeker?
The Seeker. It's very similar to the same feeling when you were with the Seeker. You have that same feeling again, and you will like see this kind of like fading visage of the Seeker within your mind as you see what the worst that could possibly happen as you kind of fall to your knees as you see that your mother's blurting out and like struggling and drowning in her own blood, and you pull yourself out of that moment and you say, no, it's not going to happen. And you just push your intent into Misheni, and you feel that thought, and just that thought, just a half a second before the thing is going to happen, before it's about to gush blood, you know it's going to happen, and you push your hands there and you squeeze the artery or whatever is about to gush blood before it does, and are able to give Nakano the same type of eye contact, and she's able to tie it off and make sure she can squeeze it. Everyone's at full capacity now. There's not much more you can do. You are able to extricate the first lung. It's onto the second lung.
Mm-hmm. Do you...
Yeah, medicine check. Here we go.
I'm going to use a world inspiration for that one.
Well, you guys have to be running low now.
Damn, this is harsh.
23.
23. Okay.
Yeah.
I need everyone to roll a Constitution saving throw that's hooked up to the blood.
Okay.
Ooh.
Go ahead. What'd you get, Misheni?
10.
10. Nakano.
Natural
20. A scoop.
10.
The surgery is a success.
A 10 for a scoop. A 10.
Yeah.
Is that for both Misheni? You see Misheni and a scoop. Nakano, you see Misheni and a scoop like begin to like their eyes go back in their head as they start to like fall against the wall and become super dizzy as you see their eyes kind of become glazed over as their vision becomes blurry. They are unable to maintain standing, but you got a natural 20. You're able to pull up one of them to try to get them back to operating efficiency. Which one do you grab with your limbs?
I go to the right. Who's on my right? My natural instinct.
Misheni is on your right. Oh, Jesus,
Okay.
so close. Misheni's on your right. She's like across. You're both on like opposite sides of the body, and a scoop is at the head of Mima. So you're both. So to right, if you wanted to go clockwise or
Yeah.
like counterclockwise, would be Misheni. Would be the one. that
Okay.
would be.
Okay.
She's like directly across. Yeah, so you reach across with one of your spider limbs. You let go of one of the arteries because you have to, and you pulled Misheni back up, and you're able to like shake her thing, and then you shake her to the consciousness, and you put your clamps right back onto the thing. A scoop falls, unconscious.
We can't have that. I cast Healing Spirit again because
A scoop is not at 0 hit points. He's just unconscious.
Well, is there a way?
A medicine check,
It's a medicine check. Okay.
which would take.
Wouldn't me being at that level means the siphon would go down to me?
It's about blood pressure. Yes, definitely gravity helps, but it's about blood pressure, so it will complicate things, yes, when it comes to that. Granted, it pretty much means that you're not donating blood anymore. It also means that you're unconscious and you are no longer concentrating on enhanceability.
Okay.
Right. That's.
I have a question.
Sure.
Can I use Ties of Chaos on somebody else? Doesn't say me. It just says it. The specific wording is you could gain advantage on one attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. Is that just me
It says
or like
you? Yeah, it says you. You can gain advantage. On
no?
an
It
attack.
just says it. No, it doesn't. Oh, yes, it does. Well, no, it says you can manipulate the forces of chance and ability to gain advantage on one attack roll, ability check, yada yada.
You can manipulate to gain advantage on. And what is keep reading? What does it say?
Then it just says once you do so, you can the long rest to use the feature again.
Interesting. I don't have it on me, so let me double check here. But I'm thinking it is something that can only be applied to you.
That's what I've been thinking, but I'm looking at the wording. It doesn't really.
Let's see. Let's see if we can do it because this is.
It
You
just
can
says
manipulate
on
forces
one
of chance
attack roll.
to gain advantage on one attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. Once you do so, you must before you use this feature again. Yeah, you can manipulate the forces of chance, chaos, to gain advantage on one attack roll. That's a good question. Let's see.
Yeah. I never really thought about that until now.
It's here we go. Here is a question. The language is used, say, to gain, not to give or grant. So it means it would just be on you.
I understand. That makes sense.
Unless you want to try to do some shenanigans. But we'll see. Okay, so you got it. So a scoop is down. Enhance ability is done. You are working on the second lung. You're very woozy. I'm gonna roll now for Mima.
Okay.
That's just enough. She remains in that state. She says another line of mantra. Finds and shall find me unafraid. As she's doing these through gritted teeth and pain.
Okay.
Miss Sheni, you're woozy. Right now you're rolling everything at disadvantage and you don't have enhance ability anymore.
We have to get the scoop up.
You have to put the first lung in and you have to take the second lung out still and then put the other lung in. So you still have at the very least 3 more rolls.
No, we got to get the scoop up though.
Should have more like support spells. Fuck.
You're not dead.
Attack.
Guys, got to make a decision quickly. Everything's happening very quickly.
I know. Just. I'll slap a scoop.
You want to slap a scoop?
Yeah.
Slap
As a-
him.
Yeah, as a
my
medicine
first
check.
as my first attack. Yeah. Right? It's an
Sure.
attack.
How about
right?
I'll let you use your action to make a medicine check as slapping him. How about that? Does that seem fair?
Wake up.
Sure. So
You
roll
know.
roll a medicine check for me.
Okay. Exactly. Are you fucking kidding me? That's a nat 1. For 10?
Oh my god.
For 10?
I
so
see
you
her.
can't- Go ahead.
I see her meager ass slap, and I rush in and I also slap the scoop.
Okay, you have
I
to
ain't gonna
pass
do it.
through.
This is like
You're gonna have to
airplane
roll
now.
a dexterity saving throw to pass through the web that has hermetically sealed this place that Nakano has set up. You have to push through this thick spider web.
Wait,
All right.
but you might contaminate.
Yeah, but
Danny.
what's worse?
I don't think Tamrin's thinking about that right now.
But that's what
Dexterity.
Miss Shani says.
I believe so. It's against Nakano's spell save DC. It's actually each creature with makes dexterity saving throw, and whatever Nakano's
beat
spell save
14.
DC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to beat a 14.
19.
Okay.
19. You push your way through and roll onto the ground and just get rid of the cobwebs and do that.
I
whole
hold my breath so as not to contaminate the scene.
You hold your breath. Very good moment. So you can hold your breath a number of minutes equal to your 1 plus your Constitution modifier. As you roll in and you slap a scoop again, go ahead and roll a medicine check as well, Tamrin.
Medicine. This isn't an attack. This is medicine. That's so
Yeah,
funny.
it's got to
I
be a
know.
medicine. It's
I
like
know.
the flavors that you're smacking
it's
him away.
silly.
I can't just like put my all my strength into it. All right, fine. It's only like a 1 extra thing anyway, but 12.
12 will
better.
do it. Yeah. Like,
All right.
Normally it's like a 10 to get him up, but I was like, natural 1. No, that's too dramatic. You
Yeah.
can't really critically fail on ability checks, but I was like, no, it doesn't make too much. So yeah, you see Macheni with like the bloody hand smack him and it just kind of slips because there's not enough friction. And you push through the web, roll through, hold your breath, and just whack a scoop as hard as you possibly can with your big Drakash hand. And a scoop, you're like, you feel like your jaw is almost slightly dislocated from the slap as you wake up, and you feel you have the biggest hangover of your life because you don't have enough blood in you right now, and you have this massive headache.
I'm gonna
but you're
kinda
there.
continue to hold my breath and roll away weirdly.
You want to like roll backwards somersault out of the
Yeah.
operating theater?
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm
Amazing.
gonna dip out. Peace.
You got it. Scoop, you come back to consciousness. You're allowed to do one thing right now if you want before things move, but you better hurry.
Help.
I guess.
What are you doing? Quickly.
Well, I'll put the enhanced ability back up.
You want to cast it again?
Yeah. Wisdom. Wait. Yeah.
Same level?
No. It has to be a level 3. So 2 people this time.
So who?
Macheni and I guess Nakano, because they were.
Okay, Machete and Nakano, you have advantage again on your wisdom checks. Okay, we're moving forward. Roll your medicine. Are you trying to remove the other lung, or are you trying to put the first lung that was removed, the new lung in?
My understanding is that they would be still connected by the windpipe, the
Yes.
trachea. So it'd be one, like doing that would be at the trachea level, not a single lung level. If that's not how you envisioned this, or what
I don't
you've seen
envision it
for-
that way only because the transformation has not reached that spot. And so you actually have a less of a hasn't gone up into the convergence of the trachea. So you actually have a better chance of successfully doing this. The more of her own anatomy you're able to keep inside of her body.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's fine. I just wanted to make
So
sure.
we're doing this in like 4 parts.
That's fine.
remove, put in, remove, put in.
Okay. Yeah. I'll.
Put in or
Yeah.
remove.
I'm gonna definitely put in the new lung.
Okay,
because I'm
cool.
not gonna-
Medicine check. Here we go. Nakano, I need you to roll a sleight of hand check as to be able to help her because of all the things that Stella, get down.
She's fine. Andrew.
It's helping. It's the spirit
She's
of your
helping.
sister helping.
She is. Yep. And what's that die? Would you sniff it? Oh, you knocked it. It's 23.
Okay, Nakano, I need you to roll a sleight of hand check for me.
No.
You're muted
No,
though,
no,
so
no.
I can't.
Okay.
hear you. Oh, there you go. That's better.
You can't have the dice.
19.
Is she grabbing it?
She grabbed the dice with her mouth very gently. Just like a mop.
19.
19. Very well done. Ooh, that was cocked.
Little chomp.
You're able to keep put the new lung in and treat them as much stitches as you can. There's blood everywhere. You're doing your best. She's struggling to Ramsey. Goodness.
I know. I'm sorry. This has to happen though, because he has to figure out how to get back in on his own.
He went.
Fine.
He just
He
went,
went
out
outside
himself.
by himself, and now he's having trouble getting back in.
That's okay. I mean, I've got a dog that's actually helping with surgery over here, too. So it's
Stella's a very beautiful dog.
And he has a doggy
Yeah,
door, so he's
he
fine.
is.
He does. He can get back in. Yeah, I'm gonna mute it. Sorry.
No.
So you're able to move the lung and make sure it's put in the right place. You make the stitches. There is blood everywhere. This is very slapdash now because you have to do things quickly.
Yeah.
You see her stir, but she doesn't fully wake up again. Again, just beneath the surface of consciousness. She says, she says again, just one line. She says, "It matters not how straight the gate." As she continues forward, it's now time to remove the other lung. It's your only choice now.
Okay. I do it.
Medicine check.
Yep.
Con save for both of you.
For both.
For everyone that's connected. There's
Okay.
blood everywhere. Stella, for real.
I'm
Get
using-
down.
All right.
Thank you. She was sitting on the chair. Goodness
But-
gracious.
It was kind of fun for a moment. What did you?
Hello. Now you're
I
over
don't.
here.
I don't know what this is. We're gonna talk about this later.
That was one of the dye that was silicone. Yeah.
Okay. No.
No, get down.
Get down.
Quickly. I need
okay.
the rope.
I know. I'm gonna re-roll. Rolled inspiration on that one. Nat 20, and I'm glad I did.
Shut up, Nat 20. Whoo. Okay, I need con save from Nakano and I need con save from a Scoop.
Well, no, that was the medicine check. Nat 20 was the medicine check.
I needed both.
I know. But
14 for me.
that's-
14, just enough.
And then con save, you said, yeah?
Yep.
What are you doing to me? One more.
D'Angelo, you're muted.
Or can't hear you. There we go.
12.
12.
I'm out of world inspirations. 12.
12. You see Nakano start to get woozy, and she was already woozy before, as you see Nakano do her best to give as much space as she can as you're removing the second lung, and she's able to stop enough blood before her eyes go in the back of her head, and she falls unconscious. Right now, she's nothing but a blood bag. She can't help with blood pressure, or kind of ish, but not really. And Macheni also, you fall unconscious as well.
I got a nat 20 on the medicine.
The medicine,
and then 12 on
the lung is removed successfully. It was clamped well until Nakano fell unconscious. The only thing left to do is to put in the new lung and close her up. But as you are able to safely put the lung down before your eyes rolls in the back of your head and you fall down unconscious. Tamron, you see Nakano fall down. You see Macheni fall down. And Scoop is the only one that's still awake.
Can I use Misty Step to stand in or teleport right in between them and catch them and start slapping them in the face?
If you teleport, you will teleport without the tubing that's connected to you. So you will disconnect yourself from that.
I think that's fine.
I mean, they're no more than 5 feet from you guys. You guys are all very close to each other.
I'll catch them now.
You can just crouch and slap them if you want.
I'm trying to keep them up.
Yeah. Why don't you roll a I'm gonna say a dexterity saving throw to see if you can get them to stay upright as you try to catch them before they faint and fall. Which one are you going for? You got to pick one quickly. They're falling. It's bullet time. What's going on?
Well, I need the inspiration.
Noel's out.
So I got 12.
12 is a dexterity saving throw. You're able to. Which one do you want to catch? You got to tell me which one.
I said both of them.
You can't do both. You have to pick one.
Both?
You can't do both. You got to pick one.
Oh, I would have never used that then.
You got to pick one.
I'll do Nakano.
As you reach for Nakano, you're able to prevent her head from hitting the floor and her getting a concussion. You're trying to rouse her a little bit. Nakano, you're barely woozy. It doesn't look like you're going to be able to do anything tactile and physically demanding, like being super dexterous, but you're still allowing yourself to create enough blood pressure for her for Mima to have enough blood. So that's what you're able to do, rather than make it so that she is losing a lot of blood right now. You also notice a Scoop because of your passive perception. Tamron, you notice this as well because there's no way you're taking your eyes off what's happening right now. That because Nakano had to let go of the lung that was just separated, Mima's bleeding out heavily, and the doctor is unconscious.
I'll use
I guess it's slapping time. I'll hold my breath again. It worked last time, and awkwardly roll back in. Start slapping, starting with Macheni.
You got it. Go ahead. Roll the medicine check.
Awkward somersault.
Activate, go.
What'd you get?
Another 19.
Another 19. Again, you roll through the same hole that you had. You just somersault, smack. You nearly completely dislocate the bottom of Macheni's jaw but it does bring her back to consciousness. You're all still very woozy. You guys have the worst hangover you've ever had. You're very, very dizzy. Your vision is blurry. You can function, but nothing you do is going to be very, very accurate. Nakano doesn't have the strength to be able to clamp this, and the blood is gushing. Tamron, what do you do?
That can stop. She doesn't have any clamps or anything?
Nakano was the clamps. She's the one with all the extra limbs, and she's unable to have the dexterity. She's extremely sluggish at the moment.
Is Nakano unconscious, or is she just?
She's conscious, but she's unable to like. She's super sluggish in her movement. She's unable to do any fine motor skills at the moment.
All right. Well, I'll see what she's trying to do, and I'll just try to do it myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is my mask? Do I have my mask, or did you like use my mask as tubes?
They cannibalized your mask.
We cannibalized
Okay.
your mask, so you have to hold your breath
Yep.
during this as long
Okay.
as you can.
So you try to reach into your mom's chest and clamp her like trachea and parts of the other venous, like the veins, in order to prevent her from bleeding out. Is there any particular way you want to do this, or you just want to do it with your hands?
Just in whatever way that I see Nakano is trying to do it.
She was doing it with her with her spidery limbs.
Can I just try to reinforce her limbs, just like add strength to it? You know,
She's like on her knees on the floor. Like you can try.
do I have any drugs? No, I used all those drugs.
No, but sanitize your hands, and I just do a little druidcraft of a flame.
Sure.
Put your hand over the.
Prestidigitation also to just clean my hands.
Sure, you
That's
got
right,
it.
You're good. Okay.
And you just go in and clamp your hands. I'm gonna say this is
Hand
going to
clamp.
be. It's up to you. Each of them has their downsides, but I'm not gonna tell you what they are. You can either roll a strength check, or you can either roll a sleight of hand check, or it's not really athletics, but I'll make you or athletics check so that you have the bonus of the skills on either of them.
Okay, athletics.
I'm not concentrating on anything. I would use
Dirty
Mage
20.
Hand to
The
clamp
third
something
18
else.
I've rolled in a row.
You want to use
20.
mage hand?
To do clamp.
Oh.
something
Yeah,
else
he's going to be
with-
moving a lot
Okay.
faster than you will be in this moment, so
I
he's going to
know.
get to it first.
I know, but
but
the
you
last
can once
thing-
he stopped it. If you want to then grab it with mage hand, you can. Yeah, you see Tamara reach into the chest of his mother as he grabs that part that's bleeding, and he squeezes as hard as he possibly can, and you to try to stop the bleeding as as the lifeblood of your mother and your companions is flowing over your hands, just literally in your grasp, all of their lives in your hands, literally. As Masheni casts the spell half-heartedly because it's hard for her to breathe and she's woozy of mage hand, and you see this other arcane hand like take the place of your hand as you're able to pull your hand back. Masheni needs help. There's no way she can do this by herself.
I mean, I would have done that in conjunction with Tammy still holding on to it. So another thing that would have been bleeding, or like something that Nakano was doing before.
Sure.
To try to hold that.
Yeah.
As I start to continue to do the next step.
Yeah, Tamara, you help Masheni up, and she stumbles over to where the last lung is as she tries to carry it, and you see that it's almost difficult for her to grasp it and lift it. How do you help?
With my mage hand also.
As you cast your mage hand as well, and you're able to help bring the lung. The lung is now in the cavity, but it's not connected yet. I'm going to roll one last con save for Mima here. That's a 9. That's not a success.
Okay.
As she comes to full consciousness, and
I need to roll then too.
yep, as you're doing the medicine thing,
Can you do another bend luck, Jeremy?
Yeah.
everything that you're doing is at disadvantage, Masheni, because you're woozy, but the enhance ability is giving you advantage, so it's a straight.
Can I do another
Okay,
bend luck against
sorry.
her waking up?
You can go ahead, roll d4. This is a hard one. You have to get a 3 or higher.
Can I take out the
That's a
thing from
one.
me?
It's not enough.
Could
take
I
out the what?
Could I take out the connection from me? Because I know we're in the last stages
Yeah, you
of
can.
this,
Yeah,
to try to not be as woozy.
I mean, that doesn't give you more blood. You're just
know.
Yeah. So I mean, you can
Okay.
take it out, but it doesn't. You need time to rest and fluids or a blood transfusion to regain.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, magic and stuff like that. Yeah.
magic. 26.
26 as a medicine check. You see as she's doing this, your mother begins to thrash. She can't help it. She's in such an immense, unimaginable amount of pain. Her chest is open. People are slicing and dicing her innards, and she's there. And she wakes up. And she's like, ah! Ah! She's like starts to begin to thrash and vibrate on the table. What are you doing to try to keep her still?
I'm
Not you, Masheni. You're busy.
know.
Your
I
hands
know.
are busy trying to stitch this lung together. What are you doing, Tamron?
There's more opium if you need it.
Just have all attack spells.
You can hold her.
Yeah, I guess because my mage hand is helping with the thing now. I have my hands free to hold her down, right?
Yeah, you can like try to pin her down with their shoulders and restrain her like an orderly if you'd like.
I'll assist
Yeah.
Cameron.
Okay, go ahead and roll a strength saving throw.
I'll assist Cameron.
What did you say?
I said I'll assist you to holding her down.
I mean, so here's the deal. You can either keep Nakano in a position where she's still giving blood and she's somewhat right in the line between consciousness, or you can help Tamarin. All of this is happening super fast within seconds of each of
What's she
themselves.
doing?
Is she attached to Mima anyway?
Yes, she is. She's the only one that's really giving any more blood, kind of. You have to make the decision quick. What are you doing?
I'll hold her up.
Okay, you're gonna hold up Nakano. Tamarin, go ahead. Strength saving throw as you try to pin your mother down.
Just straight throw then, right?
Straight saving throw. Yeah, strength saving throw.
19.
19. You grab your mother's. You tell me. What do you do to try to pin her down as you look her in the eye and she looks you in the eye as you try to keep her from thrashing in the immense amount of pain that nobody should ever have to experience?
I mean, at this point, I'm trying to block out all feeling and just go pure objectivity here. Like, what's flailing the most? Hold it down. Keep her still. This is pure animal instinct.
You get your knee up and try to pin one of her legs and knees. You put your hands on both of her shoulders and one on her elbow to try to pin her down. And you're in a position where you're almost over her entirely. Go ahead.
Put the handle of my magic pickaxe in her mouth.
Oh, so she can like bite down on it as you do so, and you're almost like over her entirely. Like this is like it's the most heart-wrenching and lovingly way possible. You are pinning her down while she's in extreme pain, so she isn't able to thrash and tantrum as Misheni's hands bloody your stomach and your chest and your robes that are pushing up against you, because just between the chest of both of you, her chest open, yours right above hers, she's trying to do surgery without being able to see a whole lot much of attaching the new lung to her, and you are both tearing as some of your tears fall under her face and her tears fall and stretch about and are flung from the sides and across of the webbing of the operational theater, and you see through the grit of the wood on your pickaxe. You hear her say, and you hear words that somehow sound familiar to you. Something you remember from when you were a kid, something she used to say to you all the time. As she continues this mantra that she says, and she repeats herself, "It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul." You got a 23 for your medicine check?
Yeah.
You stitch and you stitch and you stitch and you feel like you think it's attached. You think it's done.
And I would use like Druidcraft little flame to kind of help cauterize anything as well as needed, and all
You
that.
cauterize it on that word of the soul. She says, "Soul," as there's this small sense of pain, of scorching upon the lung being attached to the trachea. You gotta close her up.
I do it immediately. And I don't.
Tamara, you gotta get off. But you still have to hold her down somehow.
I cast web and hold Mima down with the web as Tammy gets off. Get out of here! You can't breathe.
You grab Tammy's face.
Somersault.
You grab Tammy's face and you spin it towards yourself and you say, "Move." And he rolls off as you cast web and pin down her shoulders and her knees and her legs as Nakano just kind of looks like, "Okay, yeah, right." And you begin to you put the organs back as fast as you possibly can, and you begin to sew her up. Sewing is not fast enough. You need healing, and you need it now. Do you have access to healing spells?
I do. I have Healing Spirit. I can use it again because that's my spell, not Trisheni's, and I have slots.
Okay, you see her like fading from consciousness because her body's beginning to suck down because of how much pain she's in, which is not a great sign because it also means that her heart could stop.
I get my little falcon out, and he's starting to help I'll do it. I have enough. I can do it multiple times if needed.
You see the falcon land on the hip bones of Mima as you begin to put the organs back in, and the wing stretches out slowly like a scanner from like a copier as it starts to pull a thing, and you start to push skin together and make sure all the pieces are in the right place as the wing slowly travels up further and further up her abdomen from her belly button to her sternum before things are finally, and you just push the last thing that needs to be back in there before the wing passes over the last spot. There's a scar along the way, but things have closed. And you just repeat her say, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. As she slips back off into unconsciousness, as do you, as does Nakano.
I'd remove the tube earlier.
Yeah. Easily enough, that's one of the last things you can do before you pass off, as does a scoop, as all of you sigh and exhale from what you hope was a successful surgery, as you were pushing yourselves only by will alone. Tamron, you're standing there with all of your mother and all of your companions unconscious in this webbed, domed place. You look behind you and you see your father, and he says the same thing. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. And that's, we're going to take a real quick break, and we'll be back in just a little bit, guys. We'll see you in just a minute. Thank you. We love you all, and stay safe out there. All right. All right, and welcome back. Tamron, you stand there with tears down your face, with your father's, no frets, tears down his face. He's stunned. He's in the same type of indecision where he was paralyzed and unable to help, not knowing what to do. You are a little bit more used to these types of situations as far as having life on the line and needing to act now. It's been a while for him. That was in his past, but this is real life for you now. It was still hard to see because that was your mother that was on the line. All of your companions are unconscious, sprawled and spilled across the floor. Your mother, you don't know. You don't know if she's dead or alive. You have no idea. She's on the table. Her chest is closed, but you don't know.
She's sealed up.
Mm-hmm. As far as you can
Everybody's
tell.
unconscious.
Everybody except for you and your father.
I think we should get everybody. I'll say to my father, I think we should get everybody into bed.
He's like somewhere else for a moment, and then he's like, yeah. Should we move her?
She's laying supine, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess just leave her and maybe cover her with a blanket and move everybody else to beds. Also, just, morbid curiosity, just make sure she's alive.
Sure. Do you want to, or do you want your dad to?
To check if she's alive?
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Medicine check.
$18. I've been rolling high today.
It's your mama.
You slowly approach and push some of the webs out of the way as you enter the operating room, makeshift as it is, and there's this moment that you feel like, I don't want to know, because if it's not what I want, I don't want to know, because it's like Schrodinger's patient is, if I don't know, then they could be both. And then, but you push through that, and you reach out, and you hold her hand, and you reach forward with your other hand to push against her wrist. You don't feel any pressure. You don't feel a pulse? You don't feel a beat of anything?
There's no breath.
You reach into your pocket and you pull out shard of mirror or whatever it is that you may, glass or whatever it is you may have, and you try to hold it near her mouth. No fog.
What did a scoop do before the surgery started, though?
What'd you say?
What did the scoop do?
Cameron, what do you do?
Shit, I mean, I think she's dead, right?
That's up to you. You don't feel a pulse. You don't see any breath.
Give me 1 second.
I need tissues.
Can I roll Arcana to see if there's anything that would make her? Is there like any kind of magical thing that's keeping her down?
You could roll either Arcana or Medicine. Medicine would be more of the.
Well, I already rolled an 18 on medicine.
Medicine was to check to see if you could get something from her. Like, it's up to you. I mean, you tell me what it is you want to do in this situation, and I will tell you what to roll.
I just want to like exhaust all possibilities that I know that she's for sure like in cardiac arrest.
Okay. What are you trying? What are you?
19 Arcana.
19 Arcana.
Rolling real high.
Damn.
Yeah.
You, as like the emotions begin to fill you.
Or let's make it a 19 medicine. Sorry.
Okay. I think it's like in this moment, they kind of the same thing. Because in this moment, you like through the glassiness of like the tears that you can't stop from having, and the dried ones that are now on your mother's face, and you reach and you squeeze and you don't feel anything, and you check her breath and you don't feel it and you don't see anything, and you just like stand there for a moment. You're like, what's next? What's next? I know time is of the essence. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And you just like that anxiety, that feeling, that all of that intent, that power that is so unpredictable, so integral to who you are, so wild, begins to just fill the space as you squint and blink through salty, brackish tears. And as your eyes are closed and you have your head down, you can like see this aura about you, about your mother, of just, there's magic there. You see it happening. You see just all of the chance of anything that happens in the world, influenced by the breath of life that's all around us, that innately has magic in us. It's all connected, and you see it, and it's there. There's like potential energy around her, and it's not triggered. It's not going off, and you don't know why, but it's fading.
I'm gonna defib her with a shocking grasp.
You open your you open your eyes, and before you even knew what it is that you were doing, your hands were. Electricity starts arcing between your fingertips of the claws of your Dracosh-like hands, between one part of the palm to another. And your body knew what to do before you even consciously did. As you then reach out your hands to your mother's chest, one, as you've seen Misheni do in some types of situations, reach to below one of the part of the rib cage and above near where the heart may be, and you release your shocking grasp, and this electrical shock goes through her body, and her chest goes up before it falls back down, and the small arcs of static begin to fade from both your hands and her body. As you stop breathing for a moment and you lean back. And what may be the longest 2 seconds of your life. You wait. Doesn't appear like she has full consciousness, but she coughs and she breathes. There's a bit of blood that spurts up, but she appears to be, her breathing appears to be ragged, but she doesn't appear to be fully back to consciousness. She's breathing.
I will also breathe for the first time in maybe 5 minutes.
As you exhale the stalest air you've ever tasted, the bacterial dryness just pour over your tongue as it falls out. And you finally notice, consciously, the bodies of your friends strewn about the floor that you have unconsciously stepped throughout without stepping on, all of them with masks on their faces.
I'll carry them to various beds and couches around the house and remove their masks, tuck them in.
You pick up Masheni because she's the closest one.
Can I just make sure everybody's alive first? Because I really don't know what. I'm not a
Sure.
medicine guy. I don't know what happened.
Sure.
Like,
I'll say you have already done these types of things with your mother. You can pull out your like little glass shard thing. It does look like everybody's breathing. So they appear to be unconscious, but they are alive. Who's the first? Actually, you tell me. Who's the first of your companions that you pick up?
Nakano.
You, after having what is before you hopefully resolved, and you're not sure of your mother, and you see Nakano like laying on top of a scoop as the coop is also back, his arms only partially holding her, unable to now give them a grasp because he's also unconscious. As you hold the table and you use it for leverage and you race around the other side and you lean deep and put one hand under her knees and the other under her shoulders and lift her up. She's surprisingly light. Her spidery limbs just dangle like marionette arms and legs from her body. As you lift her up and you turn around and you see your father like leaned and collapsed up against part of the doorway. He also breathing for the first time in a while, seeing his wife breathe. There are fingernail scratch marks along the doorway that go all the way down from his eye level down to where he is right now and where his current hand rests. You see splinters and blood coming from his hands. He is doing that closed eye, teeth, mouth open, silent scream sob where no sound is actually exiting his mouth, but he's just trying to breathe. And there's a moment, and then he breathes and he looks up and he pulls himself up and he nods. And he races in to give you room in the doorway to walk through before he tries to pick up the person that he thinks he most likely be able to help or drag at the very least, which is Masheni, because Scoop is far taller than Masheni. And he does his best to throw her on his shoulder and drag her out into the kitchen and follow you. Where do you put Nakano?
On my bed.
Your old childhood room here that looks like it was in the process of being converted into a home office, as so many childhood rooms are. But the bed is still there.
Turning your bedroom back into the computer room. Sorry, it's a song. I'll share with you later.
No, it's.
How dare you ruin this moment?
No.
I'm over here crying.
Sorry.
And you shove one of the boxes aside in the crates and alight her gently on the covers of that There are like these vanity covers of like still child print that has like part of like a night sky threaded into it, as well as some of like almost like ancient Roman looking ruins, like the Parthenon against the night sky of like a horizon. As you gently put her down and try to take the comforter and fold it off on her. She's breathing, but she needs rest. She needs liquids. She needs food, but she needs rest. And you stand up and return back out of the room, unless you don't. What else do you do?
Try to give her a little bit of water, maybe like with a wet cloth.
Okay, yeah, you're able to pull a rag from your backpack or from your satchel. You move back through the living room and then towards the kitchen as you see No-Fret setting the body of Macheni onto the couch there and trying to make it so that her limbs aren't strewn every which way. As you head into the kitchen and pump some water onto the towel and return to Nakano and try to drip some water into her mouth without her choking on it, and just slowly, instinctually drinking a few of it. A scoop still lies in the dining room.
I'll go also then collect a scoop and lay him in this another bed, right? Like
You can lay them in your parents' bed.
yeah.
No-Fret helps you because the scoop is tall and probably one of the heavier of your companions. Able to put them in the bed. As soon as Scoop is tucked in and slightly snoring, you realize that just how exhausted you are. You're emotionally, physically, mentally just tapped. But you were running on whatever you had in order to save the people you loved the most in the moment. And there's this thought as you leave your parents' room, and No-Fret like nods at you and says he'll remain there to try to see if he can nurse the scoop as best as he can, as he has done with Macheni. And you step out into the hallway, it's empty, and you close the door behind you, and there's this eerie silence that this house has never been this silent. And the words that your mother was saying to you, that you remember her saying to you when you were younger, the same type of poem, mantra, you're not sure. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. And it comes to you. It was a lullaby, a poem that she would say to you, telling you that the only person that stops you from doing anything is yourself. And you can do anything. And it was something that you actually wrote into the letter to Pendleton Boville, to the College of the Unearthed. That's one of the reasons that he was so impressed, that got you that position. And what do you do as all these things just hit you left and right in your exhaustion in this quiet, too silent hallway?
I think I just kind of want to return the house to normal. I just start cleaning up. I remove the cobwebs, clean up the supplies, cold compresses on my friends' heads. Just kind of get it back to level 0, just.
I also think like how the way you're doing this, like the way you feel is almost kind of an empty shell as you're doing it. You're just kind of going through the motions because you're tapped. everything about all the feelings you could possibly feel in like 2-3 days this is as much motion you can't feel anymore.
Yeah. A lot
And
of
so
trauma in the last 10 minutes, too.
yeah. And so you walk through and you clean things up, and you do so as silently. You don't say anything. No Fred
I also
eventually
want to check in on
exits.
my dad to make sure that he's like, okay.
He eventually exits as well and kind of sees what you're doing and doesn't really make eye contact with you. You don't make eye contact with him, but he begins to help you as well. And then eventually, after about an hour, you find yourselves leaning up against one of the walls near the mantle and just sliding down the wall and sitting, your elbows on your knees, mouths open, just trying to process everything that happened. The place is clean. Your ship is still in the bay. The people that were whipped and enslaved by the Red Lion Syndicate are, for all intents and purposes, free. Those that tried to destroy the town are punished, gone. Your mother is alive, not laughing. Your friends are too. And there's like this thought of like, now what?
Just kind of look at my dad and offer him like the last genuine smile that I have left in my body and then pass out.
You look at him and he turns to you and you smile and he leans into you and he embraces you and he sobs. And he puts his hand into your shoulder and muffled against your bloody robes, still stained from the event that just had transpired. And the last thing you hear before you slip off into unconsciousness is, "I love you, son."
I'll say I love you before I fall asleep in his arms.
You drift off. Nakano. A scoop. While you are in this unconscious state and your mind wanders into whatever dream you may find yourself in, I want both of you to roll one final con save for me.
Six.
16.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. A scoop, you feel the pressure of familiar pressure of that foreign entity that tried to usurp your control over your own body, usurp your own anatomy and it upon to you. And there is something in your mind that's like, I have survived worse than you. Back off. And it shrinks away. Nakano, you have another one of those vague visions of the voice of my warden. You have made a choice, as all must do. And then you start to see the edges, the teeth of your periphery start to creep in as the darkness begins to push its tendrils through and unfold into the space. Something invasive, something foreign, something. You're used to the darkness, but this is void-like, abyssal, abyss-like. And the voice says again, as this kind of orb planetoid appears before you, and as such, I now must make a choice as well. The tendrils of this abyss, kind of void-like, begin to reach forward rapidly, quickly, almost symbiote-like towards you as they start to create some sort of pinpoint or javelin, try to get right to your face, and they stop short as the planetoid moves and shifts itself, interposing it between you and the void. And what you see is this small pinprick, almost like a needle, the tip of a javelin piercing the planetoid, only an inch from your nose, from your face, but perforating, impaling the planetoid. You hear, and my choice is you. As the planetoid begins to crack, and you see red and yellow lines of almost like some magma beneath the surface as it begins to crumble, like you see in sci-fi movies when the earth is torn apart and you can still see the core or the molten bits, and the hot, or the moon the same way. And the last thing you hear before you awake is, be what I could not. As it starts to break apart, as though it were in space. And you awake in this bed. Your senses are heightened. You know what you are. From all the years that you spent in people's service and being indentured or as a slave, you know the feeling of waking up somewhere, or not necessarily where you went to bed, or somewhere foreign and unused, and all of your other senses become heightened in this moment, and you smell. Before you open your eyes, you smell like tamarind scent, like something that you're familiar with. And you smell it on the sheets and on the covers and on the pillow. As you find yourself in a room, there's some boxes and crates around. But you're the first one to awake. You do receive a long rest. You feel still a little woozy. You're not 100%. You're hungry. You're thirsty. What do you do? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
No, I'm kidding. I'm the only one awake.
As far as you know.
I go and see if Macheni's, if everybody's okay. I'm going to
I'm sorry, you keep cutting in and out. Sorry.
A little closer.
check. I want to check to make sure everybody's okay.
Okay. You attempt to stand up from the bed, and you get that little bit of a head rush, and it's interesting because you would expect one of your spider limbs to instinctively stabilize you, but it doesn't, and you almost fall over, and you reach out your hand, and you just catch yourself at the last minute, and you feel that kind of same feeling that you felt before, that type of numbness, just slight numbness within your limbs. You remember this when you were in, what was it, Big Boba's floating tower that one time.
Mm-hmm.
And then you are able, it's odd, but you feel like, okay, well, it's just like a leg falling asleep. I just need to keep moving it, and then I'll be able to stand. I'll be able to have my wits about me. You open the door and you enter the hallway, and you start to look through form a shenny around the area, and you enter the living room near the hearth across from the table, and you see her laying there, covered in a blanket that's far too small for her, on the couch. That's also far too small for her, as her head is on one of the arm rests and her ankles are propped up on the other. You also see across from her, catty corner, near the mantle, and also near like the coat hooks, slumped and embraced in each other, are Nofret and Tamrin, sleeping, passed out. You hear a clatter from the kitchen. Like something metal being set down on a counter. What do you do?
And see what.
And go into the kitchen.
Yeah.
You slowly kind of wobble your way into the kitchen. You see standing there with a cast iron pot in one hand over a flame, the smell of onions, maybe? You're not sure. In what looks like some type of nightgown, muumuu. A short, halfling-sized female of advanced age. And you hear the sounds of sizzling of vegetables and oil. And they don't seem to notice you at the moment.
Do I know?
You don't see
Do
their
I
face
re-
quite yet because they're not
Okay.
facing you. Do you want to look?
Yes. Yeah.
So you push yourself into their periphery and they turn and you see it's Meemaw standing there cooking breakfast. Like nothing
What?
happened.
Am I dreaming?
Oh, you're awake. Good. Sorry. Not quite used to this yet, but I'm sure I'll I guess everything went well, or I wouldn't be standing here, huh?
Yeah. Tough woman.
You know, my husband calls me a tough old broad more than once a day. It's not the first time I've heard that. But as you see her just have a moment, it looks like she keels over in pain for a little bit, and you instinctively kind of like reach for her, and she puts up a hand. She's like, mm-mm. Anyway,
Uh-oh.
you like bacon in your eggs?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody's frozen for me. Hold on.
Hold
Oh, no.
on. I didn't want to talk because he was gonna get on.
What happened? Am I dead?
No.
7 a.m. Early.
Yeah. Well, you had like a near-death experience. Kind of
Yeah.
sleeping. Kind of seems like a waste of time.
Yeah.
Anyway, you want to wake up those two lazy bums so I can feed them?
Sure. As I slap them.
We slapped.
I deserve
You
that.
like
We now slap each other.
you fumble over to Nofret and Tamrin as a scoop. You just kind of like do that whole like immediate where you sit up like super fast, and that's how you wake up, and you're just like, oh, that was a bad idea. And you start to rouse out of bed, but Nakana walks over and just slaps both Tamron and Nofret, and they just kind of spill onto the floor and be like, ah, ah. Nofret like pulls a hidden dagger from his ankle and like puts it out, and Tamron's like got his hands in like the mode that you did the first time when you guys were first adventuring, and he was just walking through the grass doing this type of thing and like ready to cast a spell, and Sean's gone again. He's frozen.
No, buddy.
Poor buddy.
Breakfast is so important, though.
Breakfast is super important. We're like so close to poor Sean. Then they see you and they relax. And Tamron sees. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, just come on over to the same screen.
Yeah,
There you go.
oh, so much sound that I can hear.
Hey, Ramsey.
But then Tamron sees past you as he's like this or this, I guess, and about to like cast a spell, but not casting a spell, and then like both you and your dad react exactly the same way, of like the whole like what's that, and like ready to fight immediately, and which makes a very sense, like father like son. But then you see just kind of Nakano there, like with her hip popped out, standing there, just like a little smirking at you, and you see past Nakano, and as your mother and his wife with a cast iron pot, like flipping an omelet and looking back. It was like, well, it's about time you're awake. I thought I was going to have to burn these in order to wake you up. And that's where we're going to end our session today, guys.
Bacon and eggs.
Yeah.
We
She's
saved your
alive!
mom. We saved your mom.
Yeah. Everybody's alive. We
Yeah.
love ending sessions where everybody's alive. That's
Yeah.
that's great.
That was
That's
rough.
key.
There was, guys, your rolls were insanely good. It was crazy. Uh-oh. We lost somebody.
No, that was my.
Your ghost.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. We love you very much. Thanks for supporting us on things like Patreon and being part of our Discord and watching all of our social media and stuff like that. It helps so much. You don't even know. And as always, stay safe out there. We'll see you next time. Bye.